And we are live here on Plus One EXP, filled with frenetic and frantic and gleeful energy. We are going to be playing 9 Lives to Valhalla. You may notice our overlay looks a little different today. It's because Kelly tossed me some graphics right beforehand because we didn't have one ready to go. We started a few minutes late, and that's brought all kinds of good rushing energy into the stream. My name is Tony Vicenta. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP. We're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and help great players find amazing designers whose games they can love. And we do that in a lot of different ways, but hands down, the most fun one is that we sit down and play the game with those designers. Today, we're going to be playing 9 Lives to Valhalla with Dan Phipps from Gem Rune Games, one of the creators of the game. We just watched an intro for it. But Dan, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about 9 Lives to Valhalla.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Tony. So I'm Dan Phipps. I'm half of Gem Rune Games, and we wrote 9 Lives of Valhalla. We wrote it about 5 years ago as an initial zine laid out in PowerPoint, and now we are finally coming around to give it, the tender loving care in a print run as part of Zine Month this year. 9 Lives of Valhalla is a game about death metal Viking cats who in an age of beasts are trying to earn their way through 9 glorious deaths to the drinking halls of Valhalla to join the Pantheon Panthera and live in glory until Ragnarok, which we're saving for the expansion. This is a game where if some folks who might be familiar with work we've done before might know about Duckborg, which was our DuckTales themed setting book for Morkborg. And if you enjoyed that, but you thought, I like the, bleak animal murder, dark fantasy version of a classic children's story, but I wish there was more death and a lot faster. I've got excellent news. This is the game for you.
We did it.
We did it. We have made a game as fast and as brutal as we know how. And we're very excited to bring it to you.
Awesome. I am super excited to be playing it. As always, I had a blast playing Duckborg. I can't wait for it to come to a funding site near you at some point in time, but I'm super excited to check out 9 Lives of Valhalla, to play it with you, and also support it. It's going to go live on February 1st. You should be able to go to ttrpg.link /9livesks to back it. If you can't right now, you will be able to in a few minutes. I just didn't have time to check it right before we went live. And Johnny normally sets that up, and since the overlays didn't get done, I'm worried that didn't either now. With that said, do what?
Fingers crossed.
There we go. With that said, let's meet some of our players. We've got some old friends returning, some new friends who are on with us for the first time. Speaking of which, Riley, why don't you go ahead and tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online?
Hello, everybody. My name is Riley Coyote, and you can find me at afterthought.games. We are currently crowdfunding a Zine Month flip book where you have a game on one side and a setting on the other, and I hope you check it out.
Awesome. Let's hop over to our other brand new player. We've got Emily. Emily, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, if you want to be found.
All right. I'm Emily Muse. I have a Twitter. I'm sort of a fledgling game creator right now, operating under TripForks as well, which is my Twitter. If you go there, you'll see that it's not exactly active, but getting that ball rolling, working on a couple projects, and usually trawling around this or that indie gaming Discord server.
Cool.
Where you're most likely to find me, really.
Awesome. Super excited to have you with us. I am also excited to have Ty back. Ty, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online. I also want to know, as an eldritch mouse, how do you feel about stepping into a world filled with cats?
Yeah, great question. That is where you can find me most places, at Eldritch Mouse. I do little small games and stuff. I don't have anything to promote myself, but I am one of the editors on an upcoming Zemo project called Barkeep on the
Oh my
Borderlands.
gosh.
It is a pub crawl, point crawl, and it is honestly going to be really fantastic. There's a lot of cool people working on
The
it.
team on that project is amazing. We're going to have Prismatic on in a couple of weeks for an interview to talk a little bit more about that project. It is, I haven't released my top 10 list, but it has been towards the top of my top 10 list, which I don't rank them publicly for since I saw it was coming out. And so just really killer project. Awesome. With that said, we're going to dive in just one moment. So if you're going to go let people know that we are playing, there's a tweet about us going live. There's actually a couple of them over on Twitter right now. Drop it into Discord of folks you love. Let people know we're going to be playing so they can come out, check out this absolutely amazing game. We use a couple different safety tools here on the channel all the time. Typically, unless the system tells us otherwise, we're going to use lines, veils, and the X card. Lines are things that may happen in the world of the game but don't happen in the course of our play of it. They are off limits. Veils are things that may happen in a certain way, but we may fade to black when they happen, treat them in a specific way, address them in some other manner, or just kind of quickly move past them as they come up. The X card is the ability for anybody to, at any point in time, say X, type X, message X to the GM to pause the game. We identify what the issue is. They do not have to explain why they don't like it. Then we'll move together in a different direction. Could be that something is confusing for you that you need to pause to just address something really quick, or that there's a thing that something you find objectionable that we just want to toss out of the game and move forward. We do that a couple times. We do it in advance. We also do it live on air. We have a strong line against sexual violence on the channel, but also it's a good time for us to address tone as well. So Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about the tone of the game, and then we can add any sort of lines or veils on top that we want to add in.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things to kind of bring up. One of the examples that I forget specifically who, but I think it was Riley described the general violence tone we're going for as a sort of somewhere between Itchy and Scratchy and Metalocalypse, if you're familiar with either of those shows within shows. You know, over the top ultra violence, kind of to the point of absurdity, but not getting too particularly real or not getting too much. So I'm going to be I'm going to be looking for X cards to make sure that we stay, you know, happily within that line. We're obviously historical accuracy is not a goal, but also we're going to be playing very fast and loose with Norse mythology. This is not a game that we're going to be using real runes or anything that might have been co-opted by truly despicable people at some point in history. We're just going to be gliding past all that to have a good time and not invoke anything that a real gross person might interpret as an endorsement. Beyond that, like Tony said, absolutely hard line against sexual violence. Romance is on the table, but I am not playing for it, so we'll see how that goes. And other than that, I think those are the things we brought up before chat.
Anybody have anything they want to add to that?
I forgot.
Cool.
I
The other thing I want to throw out real quick before we dive in, which I'm going to play that amazing trailer again as we go into it. Also, that link is working. ttrpg.link /9livesks will take you straight to the crowdfunding campaign. I'm going to play the trailer when we go in to just kind of get us psyched up. Even though we can't hear it, I feel like y'all being psyched up watching will get us psyched up playing. But a couple of things I want to point out are on Sunday morning. On Sunday afternoon, we have our first solo RPG actual play with our new Alone with Armanda segment. Armanda is an Argentinian RPG designer and soon-to-be content creator. Armanda is going to start doing actual plays of solo RPGs and then doing short reviews of them in the same way that we do for a lot of the other things we do. So it'll be followed by an interview with Alfred Valley. We're going to be Armanda is going to be playing 1,000 Empty Light. It's one of 2 solo Mothership adventures coming to Zine Month. I'm very excited about that. The other one is, if you want to, please head over to Itch and support the project that we have that's in its last few days of Itch funding. That's Through the Void. It is a Together We Go game based on the rules by Marcus Linderum that we established for Down We Go, but we threw it into the inky black void of space, and some of the people here are contributing to some of that also too, and helping us revise how we do some of the anti-canon storytelling techniques and that. So a lot of really cool people working on the project, and it is really fun to be dipping into the sci-fi design space with that system and kind of push it to 11. So check both of those things out. But with that said, I'm going to hit that trailer as soon as my screen starts working again, hopefully. What the hell is happening in my life? And then we are going to enter into 9 Lives to Valhalla. All right, and welcome folks from the Adventure Archive who just raided in with a party of 9. You came in at a very good moment. We are just starting to play 9 Lives to Valhalla. Dan, why don't you take it away?
All right, so just so that folks, nobody's worried about me, I've got Ricola aplenty here as I begin to GM this game. So, the age of man is over. Now dawns the age of beasts. It has been an age since the last of man drew breath. Now only stone and steel monuments reign, half buried and twisted. The land is broken. The seas are cold and the nights are dark. Strange and vicious creatures roam the earth. Dogs still hold the love of the leash in their hearts and would use those strange magics to rebuild the world in man's long-dead tyranny. Glorious death and outrageous fortune await those who would stop them. The blood of ancient warriors flow in your veins. Your movements are precise and silent. You walk in darkness, unseeing and unseen. Fang and claw, blade and bow, might and magics will fell your foes. Like wheat under a scythe, you are a cat. Sworn enemy of man and dog. Your only comrades are your fellow hunters and death itself. A seat among the world's mightiest warriors is kept for you in the drinking halls of Valhalla, headed by the Panthera Pantheon. Guided personally by death, your merry band will leave a wake of ruin, ending only at the hands of a truly worthy foe. 9 lives to stalk the earth. 9 lives you will die with sword and paw. 9 times you will be carried by Valkyries to the gates of Valhalla, where no man has tread. 9 times you will be found worthy and granted a blessing of your forebears. 9 times you will cast a wake of blood and carnage upon this blighted earth. 9 lives to Valhalla. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this game of 9 Lives Valhalla. We'll be playing as a war band of death metal Viking cats. Just going to pop this bad boy. It's going to be a long 2 hours. So, why don't we, before we go too much further into the adventure, The Wreck of the Murderess, introduce our cast. Let's see, is anybody... and just sort of as a preamble, I'm going to open with a leading question after you get a chance to introduce your cat and important details like their general aesthetic and joie de vivre and hated nemesis and mastered weapon. I'm also going to be asking a little bit about their life before death approached them and bid them join this merry band to certain glory. And just sort of ask you to paint that scene of what you were doing when a real ghost of Christmas future looking sucker showed up and beckoned them, and why you decided to go. So why don't we start with Tony and introduce your cat?
I am playing as Bramblepelt. Bramblepelt has a gray black and greenish, like that black that is kind of has a sheen to it. You know what I'm talking about? Like mixed coat. And I did that specifically because I got the blessing of Barbastus fur. And so that's one of the reasons that I chose such an interesting combination, which means I can better attack from the darkness. And so I was the run of the litter, but I'm now fully grown. My tail is short and jagged. My eyes have seen the visage of my creator. I forgot. I only wrote this an hour ago, and I already forgot what I had written here. The great Kali, who. So I'm an apostate. I worship none of the gods of the pantheon, and I worship the great Kali, who I dared Dan to tell me was not a goddess in this setting, and Dan wisely chose to allow it. Because of that, my attributes look absolutely bizarre, and I'm not even going to explain them because no one besides us needs to know because they are not standard. But I do fight with a bow drawn from an ancient string that my owner used to taunt me with. So
good.
My nemesis, and I don't think any of us are entirely clear how nemesis were supposed to work, but I'm very proud of mine. The demon spawn of Hoover tail grabber, devil of the dirt. And so
Tony, I'm going to need that one again because that's too good to leave on the table.
The demon spawn of Hoover tail grabber, devil of the dirt. You might remember that I have a mangled tail. And so anything smacking of a vacuum cleaner or its machinations, as we would think of it, is my sworn enemy.
Love it.
So, Bramble Pelt. Who was Bramble Pelt, as if there is such a thing as a civilian in cat society in the Age of Beasts? Who was Bramble Pelt before death beckoned you to get on the good ship Murderous?
I think Bramble Pelt is an outcast in most feline society because of his odd religious beliefs and bizarre physical composition. He seems like he should be smaller than he is, often shrinking into the shadows. It is generally unnerving to people. So he has wandered from feline town to feline town, seeking fortune on the wind and at the whim of things until death came and beckoned him to come with him, which, since it was the first invitation Bramble Pelt ever received from anyone to come closer, he drew close to death.
Oh, Bramble Pelt, you have been chosen for glory. Excellent. I love that. Emily, let's meet your feline warrior.
All right, I'm playing as Lorgan. He is large, orange, and very affable. And he has big polydactyl mitts. And for now, you talked about Ghost of Christmas Future kind of coming back and beckoning cats back onward. Does that mean mine can be a house cat, or is that too far back?
So I'm going to say yes, and we will find out how to solve that mystery through play. All we know, the only thing that matters and the only hard frame here is, at this moment, it is the Age of Beasts and the Age of Men. You know, there are no humans around. When that happened, I'm going to get real post-apocalyptic in my descriptions, but when that happened, we'll time is a construct. We'll worry about that later.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm slowed up on are cats from the Age of Man or from the Age of Beasts?
Both.
So if you have a preference for your character, I will run with it. Because I would rather like do you have a preference, or do you just want me to have an answer for you right now?
I was going with the house cat kind of vibe, but if that contradicts what you got planned, then
you could be.
How about
you could be among the last house cats?
Yeah, like what if there was like
Isekai,
like
you were taken.
Yeah, you were. We could either isekai, which is always a good look, Classic for a reason. Or
Yeah.
we could do a apocalypses don't happen all at once, right? Like there's
Mhm.
like a rising tide of more and more feral cats and fewer humans. So like in a lot of places, the Age of Beasts started generations ago, and in some places it's like been a week or something, and like that can absolutely be true. Because you're Viking cats, you far-ranging travelers. You get on a boat, you go to the Middle East, do some trading, come back to Sweden. Like you've been all over.
All right, I think I'm liking the isekai angle though.
Mm-hmm.
Like gonna play a bit to the stereotypes of large orange cats and hanging around. Like to, yeah, how I put it is it's almost as hard to get him into the Hall of Valhalla as it is to get him back out. And so he likes to fight, but he also likes to
Love it.
chill. And swept away to the Age of Beasts by death, by what have you, promising fighting in glory, and just taking that as more of like a mom gets really mad at me when I fight with my brother kind of vibe. I'll take it.
All right, love it. Pulled across time and reality for the promise of glorious battle. All right, and that was Lorgan.
Lorgan.
Norgan.
Logan.
L.
Lorgan. L-O with an umlaut. R-G-O-N? Or E-N,
Excellent.
sorry.
Yep, that's all right. Excellent. Lorgan, the polydactyl big orange friend who loves to fight. Love it. Oh, and does Lorgan have a hated nemesis?
I haven't put one down.
Okay. If you come up with one at any point, just let me know.
Actually, I've got one. I'm wearing a pendant with an owl, and be like a owl's the smartest and tastiest of birds, or at least looking out my window, I tend to think so.
Excellent. So, excellent. Okay. The owls, not what they seem. Ty, let's meet your cat.
All right, my cat is named Mange. They are gray with matted fur. They look hungry. They look like really skinny. They're even missing an eye. Whether this is like all Age of Beast stuff or this was just a feral cat pre-time is who's to say. Mange will never tell. Their favored god is Uncia, I believe it's pronounced. And they are dabbling in the dark magics of the world. They're kind of digging it, and I think the reason that they sort of attracted Death was because they were looking for Death, and Death was finally like, okay, I'll notice you. I'll give you some head scratches, and you can come along. Their nemesis is Young Yeller, not to be confused with Old Yeller, but a big old magic wielding dog. And I think I answered your question before you got to answer it or ask it. So my apologies.
No, that's very good stuff. So yeah, maybe the plan was for 3 warriors, and then who is Death but to turn down someone who's put in the work to seek them out.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, no, that rules school. Let's see, and we've got Young Yeller. Excellent. And finally, Riley.
All right, so my cat's name is Battletail. She is a tuxedo cat, and she has a red ring around her neck and down her chest, like a little tie. That used to be white, but it's all stained with blood. She wears the skin of a coyote, like a hoodie, and she's missing both of her
That rules. Does Battletail have a hated nemesis?
She does. She blames Wile E. Coyote
Mhm.
for all of her problems. With unlimited funding and resources, Wile took over Acme and led an army of coyotes against cats and dogs alike. They essentially took over the city that I lived in, and I became a scavenger with my twin brother. And we were kind of running things back and forth and trying to stay alive. And a group of coyotes had ambushed us, killed my brother, and in a plea of desperation, as death was coming to take my brother away, I latched on and begged for the chance to get revenge.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Wile E. Coyote and the Acme Army.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, excellent. All canon, all true. You heard it here first. Excellent. And I will be playing the character of Death, all caps, who will physically be present for all of these happenings. I'll be taking on also the conventional GM role, but it's important to note that Death is there because there is only one thing that can kill Death in the Age of Beasts, and that is a fearless warrior cat. And we'll get into that if it comes up. But for right now, the important thing is if anybody tries to kill the GM, that's covered in the rules and is an intended aspect of play. You do not need to adjust the horizontal or vertical of your stream. So. Excellent. So things have not gone as planned. You were beckoned by Death to board a mysterious ship with sort of this dark black oak, very old, in a larger longboat in the Viking tradition with those big old square sails and like a like a dragon, but as appropriate in an Age of Beasts on the prow. So probably, yeah, like not a coyote, like a Komodo dragon, stylized on the prow. Seemingly completely unattended. Nobody seemed to stop Death from getting aboard and silently. Up to this point, Death has not said anything. Just a lot of pointing, a lot of like meaningful look. You know, it's sort of a skeletal cat with a faint red halo behind it, carrying a scythe and an hourglass. Very, playing to trope. But and you got aboard a ship that had its name emblazoned, sort of carved in the wood on the side, and got aboard the good ship, the Murderous, and set sail on the black, heaving Plutonian seas when a sudden storm, you are all, and this is an important mechanical note and thematic note. These are all peerless warrior cats. There is none better. We will only be rolling dice when their lives are on the line. They can, if it's like, can they pick a lock? Yes, they can pick a lock. They're the best. Can they pick a lock with a hidden assassin behind it? Well, we're gonna have to find out about that. But it is surprising that such excellent sailors as yourself would be caught off guard by a sudden storm, and it is perhaps supernatural in nature that the Murderous was wrecked in what appeared to be the open sea. And when you woke up on the black sand beach of an island. Death is standing Death is sitting on a piece of deadwood, kind of feeding a raven on its shoulder. As one by one you come to, you can hear the Plutonian waves pounding against the shore and taste the salt water and sand in your mouth as you awaken, kind of half submerged, shaking the sand out of your fur. You're surrounded by by inquisitive but mostly harmless seagull folk. They're armed, but they seem to just be sort of looking. And you can smell the dead fish and the bracing cold wind. A little bit down the shore, you can see the wreck of the Murderous. It's run aground a little distance to the west of you. and I have a question for: Are any of you uniquely good sailors or uniquely well traveled in a sort of maritime sense?
I certainly have been kicked across an entire ocean at least 2 or 3 times.
Okay, so Bramblepelt, you notice pretty much immediately that you are not safe. This is not, you are not alone. You are not safe. What is tipping you off that there is, peril? Something is planning and making a move. What vibe or small detail in the environment?
So you specifically asked about sailing and maritime. So I think I think there are 2 things. One, the fact that the seagulls are not in flight. The seagull folk are not in flight. That's an immediate tip off. Like, why are they down here? The other one is we can actually like see that the wreck of the Murderous is being slowly pulled back out to sea by some large unseen force.
Okay, that. Just gonna write that down and add that to the official notes because that's very good. So as you are waiting, waking up and start to take in these details and notice that the seagulls are not just watching with curiosity, but sort of that scavenger hunger of, okay, this is gonna be good. Like, we're not gonna eat now, but there's gonna be something left over from what's about to happen. Between Battletail, between your feet, you notice that there's a little kind of bubbles coming up in the sand, like as the water recedes out and it kind of becomes muddier almost. There are these bubbles of sand, and just you have just enough time. I forget what weapon does Battletail use? Is Battletail an archer, if I remember right?
Yes, an archer.
You have just enough time to pull an arrow before something emerges right under you from the sand, and we'll worry about what exactly that is. But I'm going to ask you to roll. Let's see, roll the attributes appropriate for a bow, which, as the
Vicious or cunning?
Vicious and cunning. So you're going to roll both those dice, and the way this is going to work is you roll both dice and you're going to tell me what the highest result is. If you're familiar with Blades in the Dark, like you don't add them, just tell me what you got. And I am going to roll for an armored foe, but I believe as a bow, you are employing viciousness, which means that you can, place these shots right between the breaks in the armor and so on. So I don't get any extra dice. You are using the appropriate weapon. So I'm going to roll 2d6 and you roll what you've got.
All right. I shout to the others all to get back as I pull an arrow out. I'm not using my bow. I'm just holding 2 arrows like daggers and kind of getting in a defensive position.
That rules.
The highest is a 6.
Excellent. So you, the highest I got was a 4. You like feel sort of it goes from this sandy like uncertainness to a very solid rising kind of platform as a chitinous crab sort of emerges as like, give me your meat, and it's like grabbing with its claws in the air, trying to grab your tail or your feet, and you're able to just I shouldn't take this moment from you. This is the first kill of the game. Tell me, what is you've got arrows in hand. What is your approach for dispatching a crab?
All right. So I'm just listening for and feeling the vibration. And as soon as I feel that claw kind of breach, I use the momentum with my foot on top of it and try to lift off so that I'm up in the air as it comes out of the sand and everyone can see this thing emerge. And as I fall down, I have both of the arrows kind of pointed down and my feet straight up in the air and just come down right in between one of the like plates on its back and just slide down.
That rules. You might get some background noise, but hopefully we're good on that front.
Small child wants to be cat. Let small child be cat.
Small child wants to be on the stream. and is invited as such.
Not the first time this small child has been on stream, I don't think.
No, so we're gonna hang out here because other small child is having a meltdown. Oh. Hey kiddo, you want to sit on my lap?
It's the cute
So,
tax.
Yes. Oh, and she's gone. As soon as invited, no longer interesting.
Just
so
like
while
a cat.
just like a cat. So while my backdrop seems to move on its own. So as you dispatch this this crab, there are 3 more are emerging nearby, not directly under what do we got? Lorgan, Mange, and Bramblefelt, but 3 more crabs are kind of coming up, and the you can hear the chatter of excitement of these seagulls kind of whispering amongst each other of sort of like essentially debating if they're were you in the mood for crab, or are we hoping for cat meat? We haven't had cat meat and we've had a lot of crab, but crab, they're sort of discussing the approaching culinary options available to them. Lorgan, Bramblefelt, and Mange, you notice that you are beset on all sides by chitinous, sort of bubbling, foaming at the mouth, giant crabs. Those ones with the one big claw for some reason, because evolution is weird. And they're sort of approaching and trying to find a way edgewise. So they are armored, which means if you have a means that employs viciousness to fight them, that is going to be your best approach. And you can tell they're not to be ignored, but these are not, these are they register as a threat. This is not a trained opponent, but they're a threat.
I'm gonna pull out my bow and shoot at one while charging it.
Excellent.
I'm gonna pounce on at one, try and just bap him with my big old polydactyl paws, my mitts, and I've got Blessing of Bone and Keratin, so that adds a d6 to a viciousness, or to an unarmed, to my bone and claw attack, which is 6 and 6 and 10 for ferocity.
Okay.
Was that correct?
Yes, probably.
Yes, you'd get the
I
2
am
original plus the 1
Iris.
extra.
Yeah. You roll all 3 of those dice.
I did roll a 7.
Very good.
Well, I got a 10.
And then we're gonna power through a lot of these murders. But Mange, how we doing?
Mange is going to reach into like a patch of their fur, pull out a bunch of like fish bones and stuff, and starts like just kind of shoving them together, and that's gonna like begin to boil this crab from the inside out, hopefully.
Nice.
But this is not going to be strong against armor, so I believe you get a extra 1.
Yes.
I got a 5 for my highest.
Okay. So all of this is happening at the same time. The scene erupts into chaos. Some of the birds kind of take flight and do a path as these all of these animals charge at each other. Bramblepelt easily dispatches their opponent. I rolled 2 2s.
I slide under its body as it goes to the ground, hiding in the shadow of its fallen form.
Yeah, you get under, and you notice, for those of you who've been crabbing out there, this is a legal catch in Oregon, Washington, and California, and it has that wider base at the bottom, which tells you it's female, so you're usually not allowed to catch those. But in this case, there is no park authorities that are going to stop you. Lorgan, what was the highest you rolled, Lorgan?
10.
Rolled a 10. Similar story. You the crab lunges at you too early and kind of loses its balance, and just leaves itself wide open to a riposte. How do you dispatch?
I'll just grab at it, or like hit its big paw or big claw hard enough with my paw that it takes it off with it. I flip over the crab onto its belly and start tearing into it to have a feast of wet food.
Excellent. And then Mange, you rolled a 5. As you are, you can see the steam and the sort of the color of the crab shell starting to turn red. When it sort of like was charging at you and then stops and then just opens its mouth and evacuates all the water that was burning right back onto you, and you just sort of like are caught in a wave of disgusting boiling crab sea foam and sort of are yourself cooked before the raucous applause of excited scavengers that have not had a hot meal in quite some time.
Like this is their local idea of surf and turf, is what I'm getting.
Yes, exactly.
I'm imagining that cartoon thing where we just see like the boiling steam water like completely completely hit me, and then it ends, and there's just nothing left but like bones
The
or
skeleton.
whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And the your skeletal remains start to fall and then are sort of lifted higher and higher as the you know, if it were heaven it'd be harps, but it's just nothing, you know, no baseline, just the sort of as the embrace of a Valkyrie carries you up to the gates of Valhalla, which do remain closed to you. You are still alive, but you are given the opportunity to select a blessing from the Panther. You're a devotee of Uncia, if I remember right, who blesses you, and in a moment you will be returned. But while you figure out what you want your how you want your cat to be stronger with their 8 remaining lives, 7, I don't math. I get thrown off every time Cully had to keep reminding me, like, Dan, they die, like they don't die 9 times because they have a life at the beginning, so it's really only
It's
8
the Mario thing.
Yeah, it's
The math is weird.
Don't worry about it. But you're down 1. And make sure to document how you died, because cat never dies the same way twice, and if I try to give you the same death again, you can tell me, no, I need another death. In fact, at any time, this isn't so much a safety mechanic as it is how I want the game to run. At any time, any of the players can say, Death, that was insufficiently glorious. I'd like another, and I've got to come up with a completely different death. And that's just how we keep the tone where we want it to be. Yeah, you're going to die a lot, but you got a hand on the ball there. So, there is still a remaining living what do you call him? Crab. Huge, murderous, slightly more red than it was a moment ago crab, which is turning, and any somewhat intelligent creature would think, wow, there are 3 living cats and only 1 of me. But this is a crab who has so far only said, meat, meat, give me your meat. I want your meat, meat. And begins charging towards you. Who would like the honors?
Can we do like a quadruple team up on this thing?
I do not see why not. That sounds
Yeah,
I actually have a different
do it
plan for what my
together.
character is doing, so y'all can absolutely do a triple team up on this, and then we can find out what happens when the
crab. So
settles. Yeah.
I didn't play all those hours of Chrono Trigger to say no to a 3-way combo attack. Absolutely. Not Ty, Mange, when you get a moment to let us know how you are so blessed upon your return, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so Mange comes back, and now they, I think like a strip along their back is just on fire now, and I have the blessings of cold fire.
I love
So
that.
there's just
Nice.
a blue sort of spine of fire that will never go out.
When you
Love it.
come back, is
Love
it
to
that
hear it.
anime thing where there's like the glint of a starlight in the sky, like ding, and then you like drop down, exploding on the ground?
There 100% has to be now. That's the
Yeah,
perfect
the inverse
vision.
of Team Rocket
Yep.
blasting off again.
Yeah, but in
Yeah.
reverse. Exactly.
Team Mage is blasting in with a vengeance. I would love to hear about this this triple attack on the final crab.
Yeah, if you guys are into it.
I'm still playing it like I'm busy eating this crab that I've already defeated and have not even noticed that mange is gone.
Okay.
I'm back now.
You can do it. You can do it.
Let's
just
give
first
Pi
combo.
his redemption then, and let's see how you kill this crab as you come back with a new power.
All right.
All right. Yeah, I think the way I'm gonna do it is that we will tag in on the return and just say I come in like a guided missile,
Yeah.
and at the speed like that I hit this crab will hopefully destroy it.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. So I'm looking at the crab and I'm like counting in my head like 3, 2, 1, and I'm like rifling through my pack and I pull out some catnip, and I'm looking at the crab like waiting, and then you come in.
I love that. Like the crab is distracted by you, like about to charge you as this cat missile flies in.
Yeah.
The catnip sputters as it tries to catch in the with all the salt water and stuff, but it lights because that'll look sick.
Oh, I was gonna say
All right.
when he comes down, he's on fire, so I'm gonna use him.
Oh,
Nice.
God, it's the little things that really make this hobby worthwhile. All right, let's do some murder to it. I've rolled some dice. I'd
Cool.
like
You
to
have
hear
to roll dice also.
I will roll. Despite rolling a d12, a d8, and a d6, my highest is once again a 5.
Unfortunately, you come down just as the crab lifts its claws and doesn't even close them, just forms a sort of guillotine in reverse for you to descend upon. And there is this arc of cold flame descending from the sky as you're like the wind is blowing you back, just a big halo drop energy. And then all of a sudden the fire just sort of forms an upside down cross as you are bisected by this claw, and the flame on your back just spins along the shore. Truly.
And worst part, Battletail didn't even get to light their.
I probably caught that.
Did you get it real quick? You get it real quick?
Yeah, I caught that flame, and I glance over at Death, and I kind of roll my eyes, like I can't believe you get him twice in a row, like, and I pull out my bow.
Death gives you the look as if to say, "It's a living." As the Valkyrie didn't even make it all the way back up before returning down and collecting from the glassy crater of the superheated sand that both parts of you landed in, takes you back up to Valhalla.
All right. Well, I noticed that happening. A bit confused. I'm gonna shoot my shot. My highest would be a 6.
Let's see, and you absolutely what's your approach to this on fire semi-boiled crab that has so made a difficult time for Mange?
Kind of that trying to be cautious, but I still want to hit it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can really give a crab a concussion, but
oh yeah, you can. Just a solid blow to the top, and its sort of eyes kind of defocus, and it falls face first, and is I mean yeah, like you have scrambled something in there with just a huge smack of your massive paws.
Awesome.
We can find out what new blessing Ty gets. Ty, you've leveled up so much more powerfully than the rest of us. like I think we see the dust from this crab-eyed slit underneath, like starting to like fall down. And if it's okay with the GM, we watch the seagulls kind of lean in close, and then 2 arrows just out of the darkness straight at the seagulls as they come in close to the crab that Bramblepelt has slit underneath.
Yeah, that absolutely works. So there, aside from the seagulls that are kind of making these sort of furtive moves to try and get a free crab meat meal, there's a couple of things you can see from where you are. To the west, you can see the slowly returning to the sea, sliding hull of the wrecked Murderous. To the north, straight north, you can see a huge sort of like white cliffs of Dover cliff face that sort of unnaturally bisects the terrain as the beach sort of turns into normal land, with what appear to be gravestones kind of at the top and spilling over and sort of into the cliff face. And to the northwest, you can see a ruined city overrun with foliage along ruined roads. We've entered the point crawl phase of our adventure as we discuss our next approach. Death seems ambivalent as to, things are already progressing as was hoped.
And give me the 3 options in brief. We got the cliff face, the
cliff
sinking
face,
thing,
the sinking boat, and a ruined city.
As we decide that, I do think I Halo drop back in from Valhalla
the second time.
Yeah. Thankfully, there's no enemies
this time.
Yeah, no
Get a
enemies
reprise.
to kill me. But this time I will come down. I have only 1 eye remaining when I started, but now it is completely just a sort of bluish light to match the blue flame along my back, and I have the blessing of eye in mind. So now when I cast magic, it's a D10 and a D12. So there's really no way for me to fail anymore. That will never happen again.
We'll
just kind of
find
mention
out.
to the others, like, I was wondering which one of us would be first. As I shake all the water out of my fur.
Death points at
okay?
Mage. As if to say that one would be first.
Yeah, I'll sort of like
then he lifts up a second finger.
Yeah. This is
It's obvious now.
yeah.
I'll do that like cat shake and then just say like, well, I'll tell you this. I'm not going to be the third one. Guaranteed. No chance.
Death shrugs.
Okay.
Come on, Dad.
Do we
Back
want
me
to
up
go
on
back?
this.
You want to go up? You guys know how to go up?
I mean, I've been up.
What's this about the boat?
I don't think the boat is a good place to go. But if we want to go there, we should go quickly.
I think it's too far away for me to tell what's happening with it.
I think that city looks interesting.
Agreed. I think we should push for the city.
I'm kind of like flicking my tail in that way that a cat does when it wants to jump onto the bed. Just pull myself out of it and just like, yeah, let's go to the town. The city. The
Okay.
place.
I do feel most comfortable in the city.
As you make your way to the city, the sort of up from the land as you approach it, you hear the crunch of the boat being both pulled into the sea and crushed by something.
Just twitching.
Yeah, just in the distance, and cracked asphalt and shards of glass kind of emerge from the plains as you approach. Just an ancient road that like had decayed, but you're getting sort of to the epicenter where it's more and more whole. And as you start to enter the boundary of the city, you notice the doorways loom The stairs, each individual stair comes up to your chest, except probably for Lorgan, more of an upper belly, but still not. This was a city that was built for giants and has come to complete ruin. You can feel eyes on you from hidden figures in the windows above you, and these sort of like semi-destroyed buildings and skyscrapers. You can see paper drifting in the wind. There are these blind alleys. And you start to notice shuffling just folk, various animals, frogs, ducks, rats, that are kind of like, tend to be wrapped in shawls, not making eye contact with you, not looking for trouble as they kind of like go about their business or scavenge or what have you. There's fighting on other streets that you can hear. There's wind howling down the road. And you catch, carried on the wind, the roaring of a priest talking of the glory of the lions. And those, when you're in the city, your view is blocked. So you can't really get your bearings for where you are relative to other places on the island. But the roads are quite wide. You can see like a long distance, like through the city itself, but you can't really see what surrounds you from here.
Excellent. I'm gonna go up, like, I'm gonna hop off a whole bunch of old trash cans and dumpsters and get up to the top of the first floor ledge of a building, to just pace from a different height as we're kind of going through.
Yeah. So from a first floor, like going down, it's a bit of a narrow view. But you're on sort of this north-south street as you kind of approach this main thoroughfare. And as you get higher up, you can see due straight to the north, there's this after past the edge of the city, there's this sort of crystalline formation, and you can see kind of at a weird angle, kind of like you can see sort of a encased in that crystal, looks to be a human skull, that like there's sort of an opening in it. As you climb up, there's definitely like the hoi polloi of the city like kind of notices you a bit more, but like nobody steps or anything like that. There's just sort of like this people staying in their own lane.
I pull out my last arrow, and you can see the arrowhead is made from a coyote's tooth, and mention, "This is my last tooth. I'm going to need to find another weapon."
I sniff it a little bit. It smells cool. Find you something.
I think
I just keep.
Yeah, I think we're doing the walk and talk also. So are we headed north?
Yeah, doing the walk and talk, and I'm listening for any sounds of like banging metal or merchants or something like that I can pop off to, maybe get a sword or something.
So you see, as you're walking north, the sound of the preaching, you're starting to pick up more words. There's sort of this like rambling eschatology about the Leo, the sun, the lion who carries the sun in his mouth, who makes glarings into packs and who will build a cathedral that will stand the test of time. Blah 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 blah. And as you're getting closer to that, a small outfit, let's say, I'm going to say there's 8 of them. When I roll dice, we're going to count them in pairs of 2 because they're not of raccoons, dressed in sort of military surplus mixed with absurd formal wear. They're all wearing like these old sort of dress uniforms, at like odd angles and like too many belts. Got a real cut rate Final Fantasy energy about them.
Lulu.
They are all sort of emblazoned on the back, and one of them standing just so you can see it one of them standing with his back to you and looking at you, sort of like a real wants you to see their cut, as they've got this surprisingly well embroidered skull and Death's Chosen under it, and then Fifth Street click, and they one of the biggest one in the front kind of walks up and says, you're new to the Forgotten City. What brings you onto our turf?
I don't remember.
Death is rolling his eyes, if he had eyes, which they do not, but it's very
he does the head motion that lets you know he's rolling his eyes.
Yeah, he's not Death Chosen. Yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice. Didn't consult me.
Ty, why don't you face this?
Yeah, I think so this raccoon's what are you doing here? I am going to snap my paw, and at the same time that will ignite this guy's cuts, just all the clothes he's wearing, burst it into flame. Or at least that is the plan.
Yeah, I mean, is that with intent to kill? Because that rules.
Well, yeah, because I think we got the okay when Death rolled his his head.
So.
Yeah. Also, you don't need anyone's permission. Go nuts, but that's what you're here for. But also, yeah,
we need to establish dominance. We need to be the apex.
I'm not going to roll dice for that. That fella just lights up. That's done. There's no, and then they kill you on accident. That it just immediately catches and immediately burns everything except the patch, around the cat or raccoon, just immediately catches on fire. He runs off into an alley, just completely leaving a trail of smoke and burnt fur. As they pull out, I'm going to say they got the usual. They got switchblades. They got lead pipes. Basically anything you would find in a Streets of Rage. These, these. I keep wanting to refer to them as cats. Oh, you have cats, but they're not cats. They're raccoons. You're cats. These raccoons are packing in the traditional post-apocalyptic street gang milieu.
They have eyebrow piercings and shit.
Oh, they got eyebrow piercings. They got those eyebrow piercings that are chained to their nose piercing, which along a raccoon snout. So that's more of a commitment than it would be on a human. There's one who's the little one that's got cans of spray paint. You've seen the Warriors. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Little one, but not in a cute way, in a fully grown.
Oh, yeah.
In a fully grown menacing way, yeah.
A runt with a chip on it, a real Napoleon. In fact, that was the one who came up and talked to you, was the Napoleon of the group, who's overcompensating for a short stature.
I jump from, as the smoke flitters through the air, I jump from the ledge out to the electrical wires above them and take a shot in midair on these things.
Nice.
Fabulous. All right. And no, never mind. These aren't. This isn't the tricky one. All right, what do you got for me?
I got a 7.
That is going to do it. They were reaching back to throw a dagger at you in mid-flight when just and they fall backwards, gurgling. Actually, we were doing groups of 2. That's distribute those arrows. It still sounds cool.
Duk. Yeah.
Yeah. You get it. All right. There's 2 sort of meaningful groups, as they're definitely kind of looking at each other and doing that we might have, the adrenaline's up. They might have bit off more than they can chew, but they haven't quite decided that they're going to run away.
I'm gonna walk up to the nearest one with my gigantic mitt, just kind of like outstretched, and it's like, "Death is our friend." And
Friend.
do they get the message that I might womp their shit, or am I gonna? I'm happy to womp their stuff.
So they immediately like look at each other and then look at you and then sort of look past you and then sprint away. And you are pretty sure that you helped convince them that it was time to go, but then you feel a soft footfall coming up the road. And behind you, you see, and you may have heard rumors of, Brunhilde, the Coyote Queen of the ruined city.
Oof.
A giant, wearing a crown of hammered iron. She has a hide scarred over with the weapons left by cliques who failed to bring her down. The smart ones will run if they know what's good for them.
I am not a smart one.
That was the smart clicks. You're cats. You don't run away from anything. I was talking about those gang members. Yeah. That's not a advice for you. Run. Absolutely not. You've got all those lives. Brunhilde is walking up. Is not like hackles up. Is not meaningfully stepping, but not mange, Battletail. You notice. I wrote all my who's who based on the Twitch, but I'm actually looking at the call, so I'm getting myself all confused. Battletail, you notice I don't know how coyotes get tattoos. You're gonna have to work with me on this one, but there is how do you know that that Brunhilde was involved with the Acme army?
So they do scarification.
Mm-hmm.
They basically cut into the fur so that the fur doesn't grow back in certain areas, and then they're able to kind of make their mark tattoo that way. And as the raccoons are running away, I kind of like flick my catnip to the ground and start turning around to the rest of the group, saying something like, "Oh, so much for the Paw Patrol, huh?" And then I get a whiff of the coyote, and I just immediately kind of like coyote hood up and fade into the darkness.
So Brunhilde, as I look for, it's fine. I got all the dice I need. Brunhilde does not appear like she's gonna slow down. Like she's just walking down the road. She's not seeking an audience. A curt nod to death, but like that's all you're getting.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like, I have to be out of the way. That whole like dark pact thing is like I can be unseen, but the cost was that I could never see.
Yeah.
So I'm just like into the dark, like uh-oh.
Yeah. The Coyote Queen of the ruined city like walks up until she would have to adjust her route to walk around you, and then does not, and like just says move.
To me or to the rest of them?
To you she doesn't see you. You're out of, but also there's a real beneath my notice energy that Brunhilde is delivering. But I apologize. I said move. It probably would be more of a stand aside, because Brunhilde is not going to walk out of the way for anyone.
I'm just gonna lick my paw and say, I don't listen to no dog.
Well, I think that'll do it. Fangs are bared. Like hackles are raised.
My fur is heading on end, and I just look even fucking bigger.
Yeah. Nope, there's a real huge off occurring. The coyote has an advantage. She is a giant foe. And you do. This is one of the rare times you've had to look up to meet someone's gaze. But not as much as you'd think. And so tensions are rising. She's about to screw it. She's going to try to bite you. And I would be interested to know what you roll to try and strike first.
Yeah, let me see how that's gonna go. I got another 10.
Okay. Would you like to tell me how Lorgan dispatches a coyote, queen of a ruined city, with a crown of beaten iron?
She's got is it more of a crown or more of a helmet?
I have, like one of those helmets that's just sort of like a band, like that would protect you from this, but not from this that you see in fantasy movies sometimes inexplicably.
Okay, so nothing around like the back of the head?
No,
Oh, well, that changes what I was gonna.
it can be. I'm not committed to
Yeah,
it. I was just
I
talking.
don't know. I think it would be good if I just like take one arm, one paw, just smack her in such a way that like the helmet just spins, covers her eyes as I just kind of eviscerate her, like disembowel her with my other paw.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that absolutely works. You bring the crown over her eyes, and that creates or like spin it right to like block her
Yeah,
vision. Yeah, absolutely. Like she's like about to. She is expecting you to cower, and back down when presented. A quick like to sort of spin and then like go for the gut is not a thing that Brunhilde has encountered before, and it absolutely works. Um, Now I have a question, and Riley, you should feel free to play this however you want. But does a member of the Acme Army count as a hated nemesis for the purposes of your character's backstory?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, especially if they're like higher ups, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so
And this
yeah, I
is
was like fading into the darkness because I was like, don't notice me because we can assassinate you basically and everyone you know and wherever you're, you know. So yeah,
um,
that counts.
so this is a time when, from a purely pacing, you want in on this. I'm assuming that Lorgan is and Emily is a generous player. You want
Oh yeah.
a bite of this?
Let me steer it a little bit, but I will give the kill completely to Lorgan. I think that when I fade
have
into
at
the
it.
darkness, I'm able to kind of weasel my way behind them, and as the evisceration is happening, I'm pulling their pack like off whatever they're holding, and
Mhm.
inside is some sort of map or something that will lead us to like her home base, somewhere where a lot more coyotes could be that we could burn them out of their homes.
Excellent. So you find a map leading north to the edge of the island and a drawing of an Ouroboros at the very top. That seems to be their base of operations. Um,
Nice.
the a bell somewhere rings out as the queen of the ruined city falls.
Boom.
Lorgan, you don't know this. Lorgan would not know this, but technically, according to the succession laws of the ruined city, you are now queen. I don't think I asked pronouns. Queen of the ruined city. A thing that's unlikely to come up, as we're probably not going to get into a
Ruined royalty.
ruined
Yeah.
royalty. Is definitely
Morgan is a big is a big old boy, but doesn't mind being the queen of the ruined city.
true.
Nice.
Well, royal regent of the ruined city, I suppose, would be a good gender neutral term for your new role. You probably don't appreciate it, but from there on, like every click you encounter, like gives you a wide berth, and there's no more of this. Why you're on our turf? You see the Fifth Street Fangs, the Mendicants, the Man-Eaters, the Pretty Lads. As you walk through their turf, like they all take they sort of melt back and like whatever and like some of them like even take off their hats as you walk past.
Oh,
Your
friends. I
characters
like
have
those.
no context for any of this.
They're friends. I like friends.
I grab the back of the head and like lift it up and say, "You should wear it. It would suit you well."
Oh, the helmet?
No, the
Yeah.
fur.
Oh, the fur?
Yeah, and I kind of gesture to my adornment.
Hmm.
They can't smell you coming.
I just kind of look down. It's like I'm already wearing fur, but sure. There's also some arrows for you in her head.
Yeah, and I start kicking the teeth out, fashioning them to sticks.
So you also definitely can add to your character sheet as like a thing you have found, the Iron Crown of the ruined city. That is definitely
nice.
a treasure you now have.
Oh,
I haven't been explicit about treasure, but it's around. Feel free to
Feel free to take
look
things.
and so on. Yeah, take
Yeah.
things. It's
would you have any sort of weapons that any of us could benefit from? Or would we also just gonna, like bomb, just hit us?
I mean, so it's a little bit of a smorgasbord up there in the old Brunhilde Dome. There's you could probably find a serviceable. So we actually talked about this. This hasn't been made explicit in the rules as much as I'd like, but we're only just now funding. Soon, knock wood. But so finding weapons, right? Like you can find a great sword in here, or a great axe, or what have you. I don't have a list of table of skull stuff here, but you can find it, you can use it. As far as becoming a mastered weapon that is named and imbued with the power of Valhalla, that'll cost you a blessing. If you want to pick up something now and use your attributes and so on to employ it, absolutely great. It'll be more beneficial to you if you when you get a blessing to master the style in that weapon, and then you'll get to name it as an extension of you as a cat.
All right.
So yeah,
this was just like, does she have any sort of weapon on her? And I could take whatever. If somebody needs a weapon, everybody seems to be fine with their weapons that they've got. And you've got your arrows again. Not mange.
Battletail.
Battletail.
and since we established a pack, like a backpack, I'm assuming you also find a sack of gold coins in there, and a piece of ancient amber, a large gem containing an insect from times best left forgotten. Reflects the light in a pale gold.
Nice.
Some tribute paid to Brunhilde in exchange for not devouring some gang or another.
Excellent. So we finish looting Brunhilde's body. I'll tell everybody about the human skull encased in crystal ahead. And we do we want to head there, or do we want, like, if we look at the map to the coyote hangout, does it head that direction also too, or is it goes a different direction?
It is on the way. It's actually in the way.
How convenient.
In the way.
Yeah. It's almost like we sat down to have us an adventure.
But yeah, I think we should head that way, and we can check out this crystal skull while we're there.
All right.
Walking and talking and crafting.
So as you reach the border of the city, you hear a delighted roar, and from the maze of ancient streets, someone you wouldn't recognize them personally, but you would recognize their order. A priestess of Leo, dressed in iron clanking armor, emblazoned with the sun, steps out, and she roars out to you, and she's this big orange cat, like not a lion, but has a very like straight back, very regal bearing, who roars, "Who would I be if I let you leave the city without proper tribute as our new regent?" Ha ha!
Hey, what's up?
What's up to you two? I am Amelia, priestess of Leo, and like strikes a pose as if, and you can tell this is someone who hears the musical sting it's almost enough of a strong belief that you might hear it too. And Amelia walks up and like approaches like friendly, open armed, claps Death on the back, like in that sort of hyper friendly way of like, you are on the greatest of quests I see, old friend, and like claps Death, who sort of is caught off guard by this behavior, and has to adjust. Death has to adjust their skull. Amelia says, "Please stay for mead. Tell me tales of what you have done. I have sacks of gold." Sorry. Perhaps I can offer you something to aid you in your quest. Come, and sort of gestures to this kind of like bodega along the road that has been emblazoned with the sun and is sort of like has the Cathedral of Leo written on it.
It's a bodega cat.
Bodega cat. I could use some milk.
I am lagging behind the rest of the group as they head into this cathedral.
Oh, I'm going right in. I like mead. I like stories.
So, in the interest of pacing, because we talked about this being a 90-minute to 2-hour game, and I do very much want to get to the Ouroboros. I'm happy to kind of montage like swapping tales and drinking mead and milk and like living it up Viking style. Absolutely.
We probably wouldn't want to stay long.
Yeah.
So we'd go in there and I'd do something like sneakily steal something really valuable from him or the place that we're at, and then be like, we gotta go.
That works. Absolutely. Roll me a d6 and tell me the number you get.
All right. That is a 1.
You get. That's interesting. So here's how this is going to go, because I like your impulse, but also this is something that they would notice you stealing. And you see a lantern that has a faint ethereal glow, and you reach down and you steal it. Absolutely. And Amelia, priestess of Leo, sort of like looks at you, and there's sort of a I want to thread the needle on this description, because like Leo and Amelia has been very bombastic and very like direct, and there's sort of a like
suddenly there's a turn.
There's a turn, but it's not like a totally soured. It's just this is not Leo's way. But this is, this is Uncia's way or Anka's way. Like you have not strayed from the path, but you are not a follower of Leo, because you realize, and Amelia says, "Take it. You'll need it for what's to come. That lantern holds my spirit. My soul is in that lantern, and if you break it, I will fight by your side for as long as I can. But I give it gladly. Yours is a higher
it up
calling."
And staring at it, like fascinated by this thing, because it's the one thing that I can see like I had eyes, and I'm just like, it's
coming through, and you're like
my daredevil vision.
Your daredevil vision, like it's coming through 100% of like you are holding like the soul of a night priestess in your hand.
It's a lantern, right?
It is a lantern.
What is the chance of it being like a bullseye lantern that you can sort of like close to, like maybe a pinprick that like puts out this red little tiny dot of light that you can maybe shine on the walls and stuff,
so
to lead us to glory?
Oh yeah. I mean, being cats, you don't need a lantern. They don't make lanterns. You can see in the dark. This is purely a soul storage vessel. So it's the light is optional.
I like what Ty's getting to. Like it shoots out this little beam that points the right way. Like it helps us. It helps us find the
something
path,
that's incredibly focused. That would just draw your eye towards
dot of light.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Or just
can't
following it
resist
everywhere.
the
Like,
wall.
While this is all
laser
happening, I'm gonna pee in their mead before we leave.
Oh wow.
As you do, as you do.
So it goes.
So it goes, apostate. Well, they don't notice that, and you do it because you're a peerless warrior cat who can accomplish what you set out to do.
Do you already
Imagine
have it
if they
ready
did.
and you just like pour it in, or
Oh yeah, it's I keep a flask of my own.
it's like
urine.
Always Sunny? You're like, why do you
Yes.
have the pee flask?
This one's also a pee flask. Dang it!
How weird it would be if they did notice and they're cool with that too. Like take the lantern, pee in the mead. It's
So
all
just
good.
the
You're
way
on
of
a
the
quest.
Leo.
You're on a
with death.
quest. I don't get
Yeah.
it, but death chose you. I'm actually going with that. I'm going with that.
Good.
That like this is someone whose mortal patience has been strained, but their understanding of but death chose you. Like this is either important or a side effect of whatever you're going to do. Like it is not my place to kill you or to fight you. And also, we're both cats. We'd be here all day if we tried to fight to the death. So you don't pull one over. I like Amelia. I'm not gonna make her a sucker. Like she's not gonna
Totally.
accidentally
That's fine.
drink piss mead. But there is sort of this okay, well, you enjoyed
What
the
an odd
lantern.
bunch.
And it's made clear the cathedral does have a reliquary, substantial donations of gold or any other treasures they could be convinced to part with with one of those relics, but otherwise, what a montage. I proceeded to explain how the shop works and we had pee in it and everything.
I would leave the gold there if anybody in our group didn't want it.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
You are if you leave the gold, she presses into your hand the paw of a living saint. It
Nice.
flexes a little bit. Mummified paw of a Pantheran saint, preserved against the touch of death. Its finger always points towards an ally towards your cause or a holy place. Right
Sweet.
now, it's
Pointing to this place.
pointing to this place, but it'll
It's on a string. I put it around my neck so it'll kind of like keep us in the right direction. I can feel which way it turns.
Yep. It
Cool.
goes like this.
Yeah.
It's rock. Yeah.
Nice.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Let's go find so yeah, those things happen.
Cool.
Tony, where are we pacing wise? How much
We have been streaming for an hour and 28 minutes, but that's probably about 60 minutes of play actually.
Okay, great. Yeah, feel free to
we're good for a little bit. Yeah.
So yeah, you are at the edge of the Forgotten City, which you are now regent. You can see the Crystal Man in the distance, a sort of skeletal skull, and as you approach and as the it's a bit downhill into these into this sort of valley. You can also see in the distance let's see, I've got notes for this. I don't need to come up with this. I don't need to remember things. You can see from the in the distance a black stone ziggurat, partially obscured by mist. And if you look at your map, that lines up with the drawing of an Ouroboros. At the very apex edge of the northernmost tip of the island. You can also see a lush valley to the is a bit of a detour to the northeast. That is a verdant, overgrown valley with a gigantic sword popping up from the middle of it. And directly in front of you, and the subject of your little laser, if you follow as it passes through the mist, you can see where it's pointing exactly into the eye of the cave of the Crystal Man.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Awesome.
As we draw close to the cage of the Crystal Man, I look at the party and say, "Everybody ready?"
I was born and died ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Just distracted, looking at the dot still.
I've spent so much time looking for available public domain metal, and it turns out it's all quite good if you put it in and double the tempo. Then it really comes alive.
Otherwise,
but,
it's more like mood metal. Otherwise,
yeah, it's kind of mood metal. It's like this
Lobby
thing's 5
metal.
minutes long. I'm making a 4-minute trailer. As the sound wave gets just turns into a wall. Anyways, it all worked out. So the as you approach the Crystal Man, you can see it's as you get closer, it's a human skeleton, which is large enough that the jaw kind of distended has been sort of carved into and made into a mine shaft. It's this sort of blood red crystal that is kind of growing out at wild angles around it, and it's sort of like going down at an angle. Like as you get closer, you can see the sort of spine and rib cage kind of slowly going into the earth. There are tracks like mine cart tracks kind of going into it, and there doesn't seem to be anyone outside at this end, but it's sort of like set up like as a as the entrance to a mine. So there's signs that like people worked here, or like small shelters or something, but it's hard to tell it's what time it is with the as overcast as the sky is, but it's probably about midday. So if it's not like people are sleeping or anything. They're presumably in the mine working. I should stop telling you things like that. You're a smart player. Skill to learn those kinds of
head up to the entrance, and you'll see what I use the bow for. I take the bow, and without any arrows, I just hold it back, and the echo reverberates through the cave, and I like picture who might be in, or what kind of what kind of twists and turns it might have.
So that rules, and also that gives you that's the cliffside graves. Back to the Crystal Man. So you can't see, but you can hear. There's this tinkling of condensation landing on crystals. There's this sort of kind of soundscape opens up before you and reveals there are these sort of twisting passageways. It looks like they are mining. They're not mining for the crystal. They're exposing the bones. And very carefully, you can sort of see these snapshots of canid of dogs that are scraping the marrow out in big sheets and like gently placing them in these
Nice.
To what end you could not possibly fathom, but they are moving very slowly and very methodically. There are knights. There are people who are standing there dressed in like the sound reflects more intensely because
like
they're wearing metal armor. So you can get that. I'm like reading my notes and sort of reading all the UC and being like, well, color wouldn't come through, but
yeah, it's fine. We'll just gloss over whatever.
You can describe those colors
I
later when we get there.
I relay all of that in 2 words as I turn around to the rest of them and smile, a deep smile. I say, "Glory awaits." I pull out the
one
arrows.
last partial detail near the end of one of the things. There is it's far enough in, you can't get a good sense of exactly what's happening. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of fighting.
Gotcha.
Like it's so chaotic and so far from the source of your
It just becomes
sound
noise.
wave. Yeah, it becomes noise, but like you definitely get a picture of like a dog knight going like because it's like facing towards your entrance. So you get that and like bleh, 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 like that
Nice.
you get. But something's going down and
Just
near
becomes static beyond that.
Yeah. But near you, they don't seem to be aware of it. Like
cool.
It's far enough away where, but yep, those things are occurring in the Crystal Man.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah!
All right, off we go.
Down we go.
Down we go.
Nice.
Yeah. through the... Wait,
Yep, weapons at the
through
ready.
void. Did we? Someone almost did. Twice. Regardless, I want a headbutt of night.
All right, that answers the question I was about to ask regarding your general approach to the situation. Yeah, as you enter the mine, you definitely hear the backing track that I am beginning to realize it would have been worth ponying up for the royalties and sending to Tony just so that we could have that as you enter the cave. And what I'm hearing is making no meaningful attempt to be quiet or to avoid combat, but just
I'm
going
picturing
right
some Batman stuff. You know, like we're in the darkness and then back to the darkness and then like, you know, flashes of light as we're all coming out and doing our thing. Like they just don't even see us coming.
Everything okay there, Tony?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm just trying to figure something else out on my side.
Okay, great.
I was going to say I'm also letting them be as noisy as they want, so that I can be as quiet, as hidden as I want.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll basically be bounding around the corner out of a tunnel. Like,
where's my pen? All right, so let's
full on zoomies to just headbutt the nearest like.
Yeah.
You're the spear of our group for sure.
Yeah.
Let's start.
I'm having at her.
Let's start with the tip of our spear. Lorgan, you are going in loud, big orange cat, butter on your head. Let's to headbutt a knight. Let's start there. There's just this sort of like, and as you approach, you can hear these dogs sort of saying, "Be careful with that." You know, like that is the marrow of gods. What the hell? And then they turn, and there is, from their POV, just nothing but orange. As by the time they notice you,
yeah, I'm just like a blur, and then there's like some dust kicking up behind me as I.
Let's roll for headbutts.
Oh no.
Now, these are armored foes. We've had a lot of... You guys have taken the armor route. Oh, there was a giant. Never mind. But you're uniquely equipped to fight them. However, my highest roll was a 5.
Alright, so I rolled 2 d6s and a d10, and I got 3 1s.
Oh! So I do have bad news about... the arms and armor of dog knights. The helmets are spiked.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
And actually, no, I take that back. That's not a glorious death. You headbutt a spiked helmet.
Into it, but I underestimate how much momentum and force I was gonna get. I just kind of crumple against the armor, and I just kind of just crumple, and then I just kind of accordion back out.
Yeah.
I guess I float on up to the doors of Valhalla, because I don't think a Valkyrie's going to be able to get me down here.
Oh yeah, I mean it's, you know, like through the crystal, you emerge, but you definitely like the dog has enough time to sort of like sturdy themselves and like get their counter headbutt in, and the helmet makes the difference. The dog does not look like they remember things very well right now. They're definitely, you rang a bell, but bone was the thing that gave in this moment over steel. And you find yourself ascending to the gates of Valhalla to receive a blessing from your chosen god. All right. Now, out of curiosity, Mange, it's not a particularly dark cave. It's crystal and so on. There's some light filtering through. Also, you're on fire and glowing all the time, casting a sort of Technicolor Argento red over the whole proceeding. So what's your approach here?
So the way I think it looks is that as like Lorgan, I imagine the dog like just like shoves, you know, the body aside, and then the Valkyries grab Lorgan and take him away. But like as the dog looks up, sees me standing there in full like cat spine, like up in the shape, and then like all the fire coalesce and then shoots straight at the dog knight. Hopefully going to be able to make it this time.
All right. Let's see. And yeah.
Keep cocking my dice, but All
What
right.
you got for me?
I got a 4, which should be enough. It should be good.
A 4 is the highest number you rolled?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be perfectly fine.
Hey, but here's the deal: you were not the third person who died, and so you were true to your word.
That's
You
true.
were true to your word.
Just came in under the radar.
Yeah. So it was as you are getting this conflagration together, one of the marrow scalpers that was working silently in one of the side tunnels just sort of like runs to you and like interrupts the spell and just sort of stabs you right in the and then because the flame was coming from your words, like this gout of fire instead of blood just burns, and you realize this isn't really proper crystal. It's almost frozen somehow as it begins to rain blood in the surrounding area, somehow failing to drench the fire as you ascend to Valhalla, ambushed by an unseen marrow scraper.
I love that, but I am going to invoke your own rules, Dan, and say,
Oh,
give me a more glorious death.
Excellent. Okay. It wasn't an unseen marrow scraper. Were you targeting the knight that Lorgan was going for?
Yeah.
They have a shield, and you see a flash of unnatural pearlescence on that shield, and realize a moment too late that this is dog sorcery that is imbued in this, and it reflects back at you your dark feline magics and like mutates them into a conflagration of twin actually no, because they're heretics. They would not have the blessing of wolf or fox. They would have spinning human skulls on fire return back at you and explode in a sort of bone grenade. Remembering everything the necromancer can do in Diablo 2 in real time as I try and come up with stuff to happen.
Did they both blow up?
Both of the skulls?
Oh,
I feel like.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Both of what?
What blew up?
Mange certainly did.
Right.
And at least one skull did, but I get the feeling it's interesting if there's still an unexploded skull still in play.
No, there's not. I was just trying to track the narrative fiction.
Yeah. Then they both just sort of explode and create this shockwave of bone.
I'm gonna shoot it from the hidden shadows.
All right.
The highest I have on the 2d7s was a 6, so I'm not going to roll the d6 extra that I get because it'll still 6 is the highest I can get.
So as the thinking in his arrogance, the human worshipping dog knight sort of steps back and kind of like begins this sort of like, you'll never stop the return of the age of as this perfect flitting from the dark strikes true. I went with the neck, but
no, neck. Yeah, that's a neck or eyes would have been where I would have gone. You're good.
Yeah. Let's have both.
Yeah,
the days.
There you go.
One in each.
One in each.
And yeah, their pontification is cut short with the sound of a terrible gurgle.
There's probably a lot more dogs that like just got alerted, right? So I think what I'm gonna do is you see like in the darkness the camera pull down and there's two sets of eyes, mine and Death's. And I have gifted breath of mankind's babe. So I'm gonna whistle as loud as I can and then say, come! And as all these dogs start running down the tunnel, I'm going to grab the back of Death's hood and rip it off, and underneath is just this black hole void that opens up and sucks all of them towards it, and we'll see if it works. What do I roll?
Well, that rules. You get one for sure because there's only the one hood. Yeah, that absolutely rules. I'm going to ask you to roll for that.
Yes.
This is mostly to see what happens to you.
Good.
That happens, but
what is that? The cunning, I guess.
Let's see. This feels very dark magics to me. I'm gonna say so. Scroll. My own.
Well, then Death has to roll. So back to you,
Death,
Matt. I'm just kidding.
Also, I would argue Death is you being employed as your weapon.
I guess you're right.
And also, it's more fun for me. I did roll, but it's against you.
Okay.
Employ cunning and ferocity in this moment.
Cunning and ferocity. Boy, that's quite a spread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is going to be a 10.
All right. You have managed to create a temporary death void cannon out of the back of Death's own hood. As the first of all, you have spoken the word come, and every dog that can hear you heard it in man's voice, and they came after years of mankind's friendship, only to find the crystalline red end and the dark spiral of death and despair envelop them, and you feel Battletail feels a sort of pulling at the edge of their fur, and you see like your fur is pulled, but then there's sort of like this white like spirit that starts to get pulled even further than that as your very soul starts to be drawn in, and you can see the spirit lantern is kind of curving towards it, like it's all sort of drawn.
The rocks are coming off the walls, and my heels are digging in and dragging.
And just as that's starting to happen, Death reaches and pulls Death's hood back up, and it's like a light switch. It just stops.
It's just long enough to get the dogs.
And Death stands before you. The camera goes to Death. It goes to Battletail. It goes to Death. It goes to Battletail, and then Death goes and just go. Yep, goes for the high five. And like a full that ruled. And a like one like
like let's do one time.
Let's not make a habit of this.
Never again.
I gotta give it to you. No one's the closed caption is like, no one's pulled that one. That I gotta give it to you, but let's not make a habit of that. That was cool.
Right.
The caves are quiet, except for the light patter of blood rain as the newly exposed bone kind of creaks with what it's now being asked to support. And you can now hear, now that it's sort of like deathly silent, you can hear down at the other end the sound of the fight that you kind of picked up is still ongoing, somewhat.
Cool. I try to find the others and ask what they'd like to do.
I guess we Halo drop back right into this cave, right?
Oh yeah. Let's have a nice, shatter through the top with like a smoldering cylinder of entry point.
Oh, is that me?
I mean, I think
how do you come back? That's can also be the question.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for that. I was thinking, I just basically come in the same way I go, in a bit more of like a kind of like a whirlwind, like a Tasmanian devil,
Nice.
Land in the midst of you. Just kind of like looking around, angry, fur fluffed up, hissing, growling. It's like, where are those dogs at? Let me at them.
There seems to be more up ahead fighting something, so let's charge in there courageously
already
but
gone.
not foolishly. Yep, let's go.
Courageously,
All right,
but
let me
not
go.
foolishly. Okay, never mind.
Shall we go for formation Y?
Engage formation Y, and then like herding cats, it's impossible to discern what formation Y is.
We all have a different version of it.
It's why do we have
picked.
formations? That's the real question.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
mhm.
No, I was saying, as we make our way there, I keep on wanting to do something cool, but I haven't died enough yet to do that. And so it's like my thing is hiding and not being.
I
seen.
like to think that we're both kind of like, oh, is this your sick joke, huh? You bring us along and don't give us the glory of death.
The dice do what the dice do.
Yeah.
However,
we have such a strong death wish, and we just keep like coming out on top.
yeah, you're too good is your problem. So formation Y is conducted down the hall, and you come across this sort of this is taking you on a bit of a detour. You know, like there is especially Battletail would know, like, oh, 2 lefts and a right, and you're out the other side of the cave. 2 rights and a left takes you to where this fight is. And as you approach, what you see is a room that it's a little bit difficult to tell in a blood crystal cave that a room is coated with blood, but you pick up on the it's a mixture of a slurry of dog and human blood in this cave. And you can see one of the dogs kind of like stabs the other one. But the one it stabbed was like going like this. And then you see something that you probably have not seen before, even in your many travels. A mouse pops its head out and then emerges in full steel plate, runs up the stabbing dog's arm and into its collar, and the dog begins to go like this as streams of blood emerge from the other side, and the dog falls backwards, and out its eye a mouse knight emerges and sort of like wipes itself off and looks up and says, "I say, old boys, it appears we're in for a bit more company. Are you I recognize you," and he gestures to Death and says, "But you're new to me. Does honor demand we exchange blares, or are we here merely to have a chat? Are we at cross purposes? What? This is whiskers like this.
Yeah. You wouldn't
Yeah,
happen to
you
be
do
Taro, would you? The fabled mouse knight?
And as the GM deletes his own notes, he bows and says, "You have me at a disadvantage, of course. I'm pleased to hear that my reputation has somewhat preceded me in this place. This god forbidden bit of horrible landscape."
I whisper to the others and say, the stories are always embellished, but he does seem like a valuable ally.
I mean, he did kill like 2 dogs while we were watching, so he seems pretty cool.
Yeah, better to have more friends and more enemies.
I'll kneel down and kind of bow and introduce myself. Very formally.
Taro responds in kind. And I need to remember which accent I was going with. I think I was going for the Matt Berry special.
Yeah, it sounded like it.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a really good accent. I love it.
Oh, stop. I mean, go on. But so finding it again, because it's so hard to go in and out. I say, old boy, was as English as the TikTok of Big Ben. And he bows back and he says, "So what brings you to the island?" Oh, where's that Z coming from?
You had a
Awful.
little bit of a French lilt to it before. You're
A
good.
little bit of
Yeah,
a
Pretty
French lilt,
close.
yeah.
I'm overthinking it, and this is only bumming me out because I practiced it in the shower and it was perfect. And now, obviously, on the stream,
It's when it's all humid, you know, your vocal cords
yeah.
are nice and
Oh
lubricated.
yeah. No, it's what brings you to the island of the Ouroboros?
You've heard of Acme, yes. The ones responsible for the fall of man?
Acme. Puh! I spit on the name. I blight upon this age of beasts. You know their true goal.
I
They
do
would
not.
see a return of the age of man. They love the leash. They remember a time when they were supplicant and they yearn for it in their sick and twisted heart.
Makes me sick. But we
Must
have
not
reason
happen.
to believe that their leader resides here.
Yes, so we are. As they say, we are birds of a feather. Ha ha ha!
Ah, yes. Perhaps two kittens sharing one mitten. I don't know. I'm workshopping new
No, that's
phrases.
good. I think that's got you. I mean, a little more rounds under the knife, but I think that's really going somewhere. So that's a good one. Do you mind if I use it? I'm
Please
working
do.
on my next saga. You see, something for the bards back home. A little punch up, but walking at
of-
that side. This would
Of
be
Mouse and the Age of Man is his
Mhm.
next book.
Mouse in the. It wasn't before, but now it is. That's very good. You are wasted as a death metal Viking cat. Have you considered going into publishing? The tabletop RPG scene in Mouseland is it's small, but it's up and coming. The sub-publishers.
That was my brother's world, and he is no more of this one.
It's always the good ones. And he lights a cigarette
Yeah, I do too.
and looks into the middle distance.
I like to play.
Yeah, the others? Anyone want to say? Where are we headed?
These dogs, these leashes, bad.
To the heart of it, you have the soul of a poet.
So are we headed to the
Yes.
to the Ouroboros?
Yes, I think this is the right path. To the Ouroboros! And he just flits into the darkness, like in that like weird way that mice just sort of don't seem to need to run. They just sort of hover.
I like him, but I kind of want to kill him.
Especially when he runs away from us. That really
Yeah,
triggers
The
something
the
inside.
desire to chase was strong.
Yeah, we're all of us are just like,
wiggling my butt.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right. Taro, the mouse hero, has joined your party. There's a little Final Fantasy fanfare. You can now buy tiny rapiers at the shop if you want to improve them.
Nice.
But yeah, excellent. Let's see. So as you emerge from the taste of the iron taste of old blood kind of leaves your tongue as you get fresh air again. You can see much closer a Blackstone ziggurat, and even from a distance, you begin to appreciate the why they call it that. It has emblazoned in this huge sort of alfresco mural of kind of found ceramics, a dog that has caught its own tail.
Oh, the legends.
Legendary
That is
Ouroboros.
It
so
seems
brilliant.
I
did
don't
not see that
I don't
coming.
believe it. I think this is a totally manufactured concept. There's no way a dog ever actually caught its own tail.
It's an aspirational ziggurat.
Aspiration.
You and the tarot, you know, as you've emerged and you're kind of moving at more of a travel pace, has been explaining what he knows of the Ouroboros. and that they keeps going on and on about their excellent wine cellar, and says it's a shame says they put the heart of grotesquerie, it really ruins the ambiance, but the wine, she is so good. But beneath the temple you can find a path to the heart of whatever it is they're trying to do. But that's interrupted, which thank Christ, because it's been like a lot of wine talk and no meat. So it's really a kind of, you're finding the tarot kind of unapproachable. Like it's really kind of hard to, now that you're the bluster of heroism, but once you get to know him, it's a bit like, oh, you're
never meet your heroes is what they say.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's also just this mouse who has a
he's way cooler in the stories.
Yeah, but in real life he's kind of bougie.
Like it's obviously a publicist was at work here.
Oh my god! Yeah, no, they took Taro's phone away a long time ago, and it's a career on post on Age of Beasts Twitter, which is still called Twitter. It's run by birds, and they. However, all of this chat, semi-disappointing chat, is interrupted as you come across a war camp, and you think you know what's going on, but then you realize there is the symbol of Acme is not present. There is a wolf on a banner, and a band of dogs and foxes laying under it, licking their wounds. You can tell as peerless warriors some of them might live, but not well. Like they have lost, capital L, lost a battle, and are like, whenever they should not have bothered retreating because it was too late. There's this sort of smell of smoke, like poorly tended fire, and just sort of a improvised military camp that was established as an outpost outside of the ziggurat, but is now completely fallen into disrepair. Some of the tents have fallen over, the stores are eaten into by wild animals, and just like that real Civil War groaning of like soldiers in a bad way. That is, you can approach or just go around it, but that is definitely visible.
I turn to Lorgan. What do you think we should do? You're always the best at planning ahead.
Yo. I wonder why they're hurt, but were they hurt by something inside or out?
A little of column A, a little of column B.
There's only one way to really find out. Well, there's two ways. I guess that's the debate. We kill them and take their stuff, or we ask them.
We could leave it up to the Leo. And I hold up the lantern.
I like to play with my kills sometimes, but it's not sporting here. Isn't that right? What's his name again? Toronto?
Yeah,
Toronto. If you're local.
Yeah.
Toronto's ears twitch, but pretend not to hear.
What? Hey, you dogs!
Throw the lantern into the middle of the space.
Okay, that's interesting. So the lantern shatters, and Amelia emerges with her booming voice and her, the sort of like from the lantern, there's this sort of genie in the lamp, like like as if, and she's a sort of pale, glowing version of Amelia is here now. And she sort of like pulls out this great axe that's easily as big as she is, and sort of looks left, looks right, looks down, looks up, notices what's on the banner, and sort of spins it in places, slams it down, and just starts laughing at them in this sort of like, almost anime villain, like ha, ha, like distinct ha's with each laugh, and then sort of looks to you, who your band of cats and death, and says, I anticipated you'd invite me to a great battle, but clearly you've showed me a sight of our own god's supremacy. What use a wolf to you now, canids? Ha! Your human cult is just as foolish as your one true faith. And the dogs are like just sort of like, oh god. like and like a couple are just like, oh come on.
What were you gonna do when you got their attention, Bramble Pelt?
They're like, what,
sorry, was there a plan?
What happened? That was it. I was just gonna ask.
So the Amelia does have like, theological knowledge of what's going on, and sort of like walks up and says, like starts looking for who's running this Mickey Mouse operation. What nonsense is this? You've got the biggest hat. What happened here?
She's just mocking them, like,
oh yeah, just openly,
faces.
like you
like, this is pathetic.
This is pathetic. I thought the wolf was worth something, but this is nothing. Nothing compared to the lion who carries the sun in its jaws.
I pull out popcorn and I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm kind of catching the fever. The weight of a tigress.
And just grabs like a fox by its like cuff, and picks it up and just sort of moving the spine a lot more than is medically advised, and carries him up. And then like some of the soldiers protest, and it's just like, like just gestures with the axe to be like, no, you're not fighting. A, I'm not even here. B, I can absolutely kill you. And carries this this sort of more decorated fox in this kind of military uniform, and throws this sort of wounded leader at your feet and says, so, canid wolf worshipping, clearly you're here to deal with those that I had a really good one, but I couldn't find it in time to make it sound like you've clearly you're dealing with those who lost sight of the Ciborium Canidae. How did that work for you? Where is your wolf now? Tell them what happened. I want to hear it so I can laugh. As this just wretched looking fox is thrown at your feet, covered in mud and blood, and just this is the worst and likely last day of its life.
I'm gonna start grooming it. I kind of feel bad for it. So like as it talks, I will groom its wounds and just be like, did you try to fight someone in the ziggurat? Like what happened?
You absolutely, if you want to save this fox's life, you absolutely could. Like that leg's got to go.
Let's not go that far. Let's just see. Let's see how cool this guy is.
Yeah. So like in that like way where characters can be dying for just long enough to give you plot relevant details, there's sort of that small cough and trickle of blood. As this sort of half dead fox begins to sort of cough out that they came to put a stop to it. These heretics, they've lost sight. They've lost sight of the Ciborium Canidae. They've rejected the old gods. They've rejected the they've rejected the truth of the wild, and are trying to go back to the leash. Oh, the leash, when the wolf is right there to following the true way. Don't they know all dogs go to heaven, but they will be rejected at the gates. They have to be stopped. They're trying to They're trying to build a new man. Can you imagine? To go back to the age of man, they think this will be the capital of the world, and they will be the first among those put to the leash.
Wow.
They've
Yeah.
gone
It really is
mad.
a dog-eat-dog world, isn't it?
One man,
I've been established as a fox, but I get it. That's pretty good stuff.
one man, to bring about a new age. It's preposterous.
Who knows why why mad dogs do what they do? It's foolish, but a lot of people will die in the process.
We can stop this.
And there's the fox protests a bit in a sort of like, this is our mess to clean up, and like goes to stand and tries to stand on the
I'm
bad
gonna
leg.
kick their leg out from underneath them.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is they like.
But in an honorable way, you know, the way like a
Yeah.
sensei would
Yeah.
do to their student.
Yes,
You know,
I'm
like he
schooling
tries to stand up,
this fox.
just boom.
Kicking the leg out from under this dog is like trying to kick open a shower curtain. Like you barely had
Just
to touch it.
crumbles.
It just crumples down. And he sort of picks up his head and is like, fine. He pulls from his quiver an arrow that Mange will recognize. This is not just an arrow. This is an arrow of truth. And if it kills, when it kills, not if, when it kills an opponent, before they die, they have to answer one question as truthfully as possible, and then it breaks because games. And it sort of holds it up to like no one in particular. Their eyes are like not focused at this point, and it's just, and sort of says like, you have to stop, succeed where we have failed. Don't make this, like don't make the death of those dogs pointless here. We did what we could do.
Yeah, I'll explain the arrow and how it works, and then just be like, Bramble Pelt, you seem good with arrows.
take it.
You should take that, and then like we should bolt, right? Like just bolt in there and get these
My
dogs.
quarrels with the dogs of man.
Y formation.
Yeah.
Engage Y formation.
This is such a pitiful sight. I would feel bad to even continue speaking with them.
Yeah, you guys suck, by the way. But we gotta go.
Amelia, who is still here, was it Amelia?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amelia.
Yeah. It sort of says, I agree. You suck, and you only have one life, and this is what you did with it. I'm embarrassed for you, but amused. And then Amelia's spirit fades.
Hold on. Before we leave,
it begins to fade.
Yeah, no, Amelia can fade, but before we leave, I'm going to take the paw thing off, and I'm going to place it around the dog's neck, and it's going to curl into a middle finger. And then we're going to go.
Yeah, I'm already just walking
write
toward
that
the entrance to
down
the
for that
ziggurat at this
log.
point.
Fox with the paw of a living feline saint. There's some meat on that bone. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that. If you don't mind, I would like to step up for a bit so I can get some water, because I've been talking a lot, and
That's perfect timing. Let's actually take a 5-minute break. Before we do that, Dan, I do need you to roll some dice for me.
Excellent. The prophecies were true. So tell me, how's
as we get into
this going?
Y formation, I'm lagging slightly behind Death, and I take the arrow of truth, and I as everybody else moves forward, shoot it right into Death's back.
All right, let's see how this goes. As you notch your bow, like the scythe just sort of moves out, like, oh, yeah, this happens. Interesting. What did you roll?
I rolled 6s across the board, which I feel like should be significant.
That
but
should.
I don't know what you rolled. So.
I did, however, roll a 3 and a 7. The death, sort of, you fire the arrow, and death almost gently takes the curve of the scythe and just sort of guides the arrow and brings it and like to a stop and walks and places it in your hand and cuts your head off right at the neck in one sort of swift motion, as if an almost like part of returning your arrow to you. It would be almost impolite not to make it clear, like, no, this is what happens when you try and shoot death in the back.
Excellent. We'll be back in about 5 minutes to find out what happens in the finale of our adventure right after that.
All right.
All right.
And we are live again here on Plus One EXP. Emily having fully turned into a cat. Truly method roleplay techniques happening here. Very excited. Very excited. And we are entering into the ziggurat. My character has when my character died because they are an apostate. It looks like my character's very being is unwoven and then loomed back into existence.
Okay.
Nice.
On brand with your god.
You know, and so yeah, so I was trying to think like how does my god do this? And so and I have like what look like leather lashes tied all around my arms now.
Excellent. So you are approaching the ziggurat of the Ouroboros. You stand before the blasphemous symbol of a dog that has caught its own tail, a thing that must never happen. And it just seems to radiate a profane energy. The entire the construction, it's all like this sort of God, I was just playing Minecraft. You'd think I'd remember my
Obsidian?
rocks better. Yeah, like not obsidian, but like this sort of deep black stone. Like it doesn't have that like glassy transparency to it. It's
The
like
Daedra stuff.
yeah. Let's go with that. It's got that energy about it. This really dark, polished stone. Unlike a lot of things you've seen on this island, it doesn't have that look of like ancient decrepitude. Like it's not something from a bygone age that was like found and made to like live in. This is new construction. It's built. The stairs are the right height. The doors are the right height. Slightly bigger than a cat would normally expect, but it looks like this has been under construction for quite some time. It's looming. I think we've established the looming. And it's just replete with pavilions and arcades. You can see evidence of a battle near the very front. You know, there's these sort of improvised barricades. There's corpses on both sides that sort of line the floor. You get a chance to see, you know, in plenty of time to decide your approach, but it is a guarded entrance with knights that look similar to the canine the dog knights you saw in the mine. These are the same sort of somehow affiliated with the Acme military organization, established as a cannon coyote army. You can hear a sort of flitting, kind of buzzing sound on the air. That's kind of it's difficult to place at this time.
Excellent.
That's good. That'll mask the sound of the low growl I've been making since we entered.
It kind of adds a treble to your bass. So it's noticeable.
I skulk into the shadows.
The shadows embrace you.
It's extra skulky because I'm. You know.
Yep.
Well, there's a couple of dog guards up ahead. You said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we've established how we handle that, and it is
Formation Y.
Yeah, formation Y. So
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, tip of the spear. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I will. I'll get the guard to the left.
Okay, so let's paint a bit of a picture. There's two guards up ahead. They both look wounded, but still capable. Like they were in that last fight. The one on the left is carrying a spear. Let's get the one on the right. A pair of like short swords. So you're approaching the one on the left.
No, I'm gonna approach the one on the right. I know a little bit of military tactics.
All right.
And
Oh,
get
and
a
he's armored. I've been just giving it to you because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, your vicious is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right, and I get an extra D6 because I took the blessing of hiss and growl.
Nice.
It's the hissing and growling. Ooh, yep, got a 9.
Yeah, that'll they seeing that you're coming is of no help to either of these guards. You, as the tip of the spear, are like they were rearing back with like 2 weapons to kind of but the nothing is faster than claw and fang as you just in and down. The guard with the spear barely has time to react and is starting to draw back and lunge at you, giving another cat an opportunity to interfere with his plans.
Yeah, I think I raised my paw to the sky, and then sort of like how I've been coming back, a ion beam of pure Valhalla energy is going to come down and immolate this guy.
Oh yeah, pure
Pure
Is there a
Valhalla.
name for that
Valhalla.
weapon?
Yeah, we've got
Nothing
a
but
Valhalla satellite.
Valhalla Baja Blast emerges
Yeah.
from the heaven.
All right, I actually got a 10, so I'm pretty confident in this
Oh
one.
my god. I just
2 12s.
I would love to kill you more than I have so far, but unfortunately for me, the this is pulling back the spear to sort of drive it into Lorgan when it's sort of in slow motion. The from the very back end of the spear, it slowly dissolves and takes the rest of the dog with them as they are transported to the feline halls of battle to fight for the rest of time against the greatest warrior cats that the world will ever see. Truly a fate worse than death.
Yeah, probably not going to have a good time up there.
Not gonna go great for Spot. However, there is sort of a clanging to indicate that that was a loud entrance, and they were just assaulted. So
Wait, that wasn't a stealth Valhalla beam?
No, you didn't put the silencer on the.
Next time.
Yeah, no, there's just this chorus of growling death metal ringing. Actually, forget the alarm. There's no alarm. This is now a standing beam of pure death metal.
Yes.
And you get that, you
The
remember
guitar solo kicks in.
the guitar solo kicks in. You can feel the bass in your chest when you breathe in. Yeah, all of those things are now happening.
Nice.
If you could hear each other, whatever you could hear before, now you hear this, and so does every other dog in the ziggurat. But for this moment, it is quiet. There's a couple of ways you can go. There are these sort of pavilions out and around. It looks like this whole thing is sort of this lots and lots of arches, sort of a monastic or abbey style with a sort of like a lot of these sort of open air areas that are kind of in concentric squares leading to a clear middle. So you can there's a sort of left, right, and center, and let's see. This is where the GM prep started to thin out, but you can see that there are there's sort of a greenhouse to one side, and to the other side, it looks like there's like a chapel, like separate from the main hallway. There is sort of a dedicated, more religious area emblazoned again with the like unholy symbol of the canine Ouroboros.
Sweet.
Well,
We're gonna push forward.
yeah, let's go where the blasphemy takes us.
Yeah, I'm walking in head held high, and if there's ever like a dog coming in to like attack without even reacting, I'm just saying, "Stay, stay."
So I think the Breath of Mankind's Babe
Does it only work one time?
it on exactly one occasion you may issue a simple command.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
how
then I'm just walking through, but trying to kill whoever comes at me instead.
So I'm hearing right to the heart of the Ouroboros.
Yeah.
Just like dead center.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right.
That's the most glorious.
You find there's a ring of leash cult worshippers in dressed in robes surrounding a machine flesh hybrid that seems to dominate the room. It looks like the starting at the hip, like the torso, arms, chest, and head of what they perhaps thought a human looked like. It's but you can clearly see there are animal corpses sewn into it. There's machinery. There's this sort of like there's this sort of gross science fiction like in semi embalmed arm, and it is the you can hear them, the cultists turn to you and say, "Hail the new man!"
Sure as hell doesn't look like the old man.
The new man's left hand has a sort of blue tint to it, and is on fire in a flame that is not dissimilar from Mange's sort of energy. The right hand holds a mace, and it has a sort of more metal than flesh skull, and it's sort of there isn't really a proper face. It's more of a rictus of a human skull.
Can I make a pitch for you?
Oh, you absolutely may.
Can the
Yes.
as we pan down to the torso of these things,
Mm-hmm.
can we see a Hoover upright man brand label?
Yes, we can. Thank you for reminding me. I wrote and circled that to loop that in now.
And can at least one of their arms be a vacuum
just like a
attachment?
tube coming around? Yeah.
Yep. The right hand has like a tube coming. Actually,
It's like
yes.
is it like a Henry Hoover thing?
That would be tied to demon spawn of Hoover tail grabber.
This is a Hoover upright vacuum cleaner that has been modified into being a human being. Regardless of what type of animal you are, the vacuum cleaner in some way, shape, or form represents man's terrifying power to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And now that you've reminded me, you notice two other details. The primary figure enshrouded in this environment is Young Yeller.
Yes.
Taller than the rest, a Great Dane that sort of like is larger than all the other dogs, but dwarfed by this terrible construction behind him. And you can only tell by the snout, because it's, everything from here back is covered in shadow. And on top of all that, perched above in the sort of open air pavilion of the ziggurat, sits an owl, just watching mysteriously.
I'm just gonna right at that fucking owl.
It looks down at you, tired. It's daytime, but impassively. All these things, yeah. I meant to space these out a bit, but you know what? We saved the best for last. Your GM notes will
Yeah,
only carry you so far.
The ultimate
Yeah,
final
very
showdown.
every villain is Lemons vibe going on here. Just
Yep.
Yeah. If Lorgan needs air, you can use the bow to jump off of and launch if you need it.
oh, is this like rocket jumping?
Yeah.
Ah,
Fuck.
yes.
Oh. I'm torn. I'm really angry at dogs right now, but also
Ow.
quarry, the sweet meat of bird.
There's only one way to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the tip of the spear goes straight up. Sometimes you throw the spear into the air. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So use the bow to try and jump onto the up at the owl.
Yeah,
So
I could try and set you up. That's my only idea. If you
Okay.
have something better, please follow it. Yeah.
Maybe I could climb the new man and see if I can
Ooh.
get some owl at the top.
What if you can I pitch something with the new man?
Yes.
What if you found a way to reverse, instead of the vacuum thing sucking in, it could blow up and create like
You
a
hit the reverse switch on their back.
Yeah, all I need to do is just find a really big leaf.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You use that coyote pelt.
Okay,
yeah, I did take that coyote pelt.
it's true. So we've got a bunch of dogs in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Got a bunch
We've got
of
like
dogs
a magic
Altar,
ritual happening.
Big
you said?
new upright man.
You have a slowly emerging new man,
Yeah.
shoddily constructed, but
Owl up above.
owl up above, and
Alright,
yeah, young
I'm
yeller
gonna
in the middle.
roll off for this. On
So
a
you're going for
6,
the
I will
owl.
take the owl. I
Mhm.
got a 6. I'm taking the owl.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to roll, and you hear it works. You are what did we land on? Did we land on the
Whatever you want.
the reverse
the reverse suction or the bow.
the reverse suction on the Hoover approach?
Yeah.
that- yeah.
I was thinking I could climb it Shadow of the Colossus style and maybe flip a switch.
So yeah, as this sort of chaos that we're about to get to describing the other elements of this chaos, but in the melee, you're able to make a beeline, slam the Hoover in reverse, use that updraft to leap in the air, and then that treble buzzing that has been in the background this whole time gets louder and louder and deafening as a hummingbird assassin intercepts you mid-flight between you and the owl, which sat unmoving this entire time, and sort of strikes you midair. Now, let's see. What did you? I need my own.
Holy shit! Was he just one of those fake owls on the bank the entire time?
With the spinny heads.
Well, that would be difficult not to do now. As you approach, the eyes light up and it goes, whoo, whoo. All right. I'm putting that out of my head, but maybe that'll come back up. Regardless, you are pitched in the air with a hummingbird assassin. What did you roll again?
Oh, I just rolled a 6. Like I rolled a d6 to see if I would go who I would go after, but I'm gonna do an actual roll. This is not a dog. So I am going to roll another 9.
Oh, I'm so thrilled because I also rolled a 9, which means that we have tied, and I was hoping this would come up a lot more, but I'm thrilled to report that you are intercepted in mid-flight and noticed just in time to reach out, and your weapon of choice is your
my
claws.
paws.
So you noticed just in time to sort of take in the hummingbird and rend it, and as you rip the hummingbird apart, you notice it's they don't have proboscis. They got beaks. They're birds. What am I talking about? Proboscis. They're
it's pointy bit.
It's pointy bit. You pull it out, and from your heart, a stream of blood comes out because it had just dart-like gone right into your heart, and you have killed the hummingbird assassin, but the hummingbird assassin has also killed you.
Can I roll to see if my carcass lands on a dog?
You absolutely may.
Cool. That's just going to be a normal attack roll.
Ruling's not rules. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's double dip.
I got to reevaluate this die because I got another 9.
Yeah, that absolutely works.
Wait, no, that's a 6.
Still works. I rolled 2 4s. One of the back row supplicants does not manage to kill you a second time in the same life, which we would have worked out the theological implications of that later. You fall, and as you just sort of, Christ pose, fall back into the melee as starting to brew around you, and just
Squash.
I am bad, and that is good.
A lesser supplicant in the back row, and it with a dust rises with the thud. The camera shakes.
I'm just shooting off arrows at this Hoover upright man in all of its glory.
So we're getting a little Super Nintendo JRPG style. So let's consider the head, torso, and 2 arms as each separate sprites.
There you go.
Here with their own health track. The red right hand and the chest are the most hoovery of parts. But the real meat and potatoes would be the torso. This is just the sort of
like any cat,
actually built with meat and potatoes.
Potentially, like any cat, the attachment,
this is what humans like.
The
meat,
attachment
potatoes,
pieces,
meat,
as well
potatoes.
as the circular cylinder, are the parts I worry the most about. And so I'll shoot its hand to start with.
Very good. So you are using a bow which employs cunning. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Well, the red right hand is tricky, but you are cunning and can anticipate its dodges and moves, so I don't get any extra dice. However,
and because it's my hated enemy, do I get an extra die? Is that how that works?
What happens with your hated enemy is if you kill it, you get an additional blessing, which I should have said when Battletail felled a coyote.
I didn't kill it. Does that still
You didn't kill
count?
it. That was the thing.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll get you some more coyotes in a minute. I
rolled a 7.
And you were going for the hand.
Correct.
So the hand reaches, like, one of the arrows kind of bounces off the hose, and then it sort of like it just strikes like a snake. I might actually need some help threading the needle on appropriate tone here, because murdering you with a vacuum cleaner, it feels like it's going to get real grisly really quick, but I think you are pulled in.
Well, what I would say is it's in reverse. So I think this is it shooting something out.
Yeah, no, that's
which also makes sense from a narrative fiction standpoint. Like, I am across the room from it, so this is a ranged engagement.
This is a ranged engagement. You see something sort of go chunk, 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 and then God, you're vacuuming and you accidentally pick up like all kinds of small stuff.
It's a marble and three thumbtacks.
Oh yeah, just
marble, 3 thumbtacks and a hairpin just fly at you all at once, and just pin you to the black stone wall behind you.
Right. I weave out of existence.
Right, as one is wont to do.
That was embarrassing. I'm a dip.
There's so much happening.
Yeah, I guess.
Mange, go get it.
Yeah, I guess I am going to charge forward at the vacuum new man, but then turn at the last minute, point at the young yeller, and say, "We have long-standing beef, as both of us know. It's a major plot point of both of our backstories. So I'm going to challenge you to a duel now." And then I am going to begin horking up a hairball and launch the hairball, which is actually a fireball at young
A
Yeller.
hairdukin?
Yeah,
Mhm.
hairdukin, exactly.
You hair dukin.
All right. What kind of enemy is young Yeller?
That's an excellent question because I wasn't hugely prepared for you. I feel like giant isn't quite right, even for a Great Dane. That's just a
Is it-
big dog. But
Is
Mhm.
magic? Is
Uh,
that what MAG is?
I think it's got to be. I think Young Yeller's got to be magic. I think it's got to be a wizard battle here. Like the leader of this has
Spells
Because
got to
otherwise
versus
he'd be
spells.
old. He'd be old if he wasn't. If
Yeah,
he didn't have
yeah.
magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
But
You
I'm
can't teach
pretty
an old
sure,
dog new magic tricks.
I am pretty sure that your magic offsets the ferocity here.
yeah, and I also have an extra d6 when using magic and against magic, so I'm
Ooh.
primed
Oh,
for
so you might have been angling. Excellent.
this.
Tell me a story.
I will tell you that I got an 11.
Yes. So you engage and sort of demand a wizard's duel against Young Yeller, citing your relevant plot points in your dueling narratives, of which you are both the protagonist of your own stories, and speak to something older than the age of man. You know, the wizard is compelled to duel, and as you begin conjuring your hairball, and the Young Yeller begins to summon his mightiest that horking noise dogs make in the middle of the night to let you know that they're also throwing up some goddamn thing they ate in the middle of the night. And your red and blue fireballs meet in the middle and sort of just do that, just and then yours just pierces through it with the actual hair, as opposed to the weird, I don't know, when my dog always threw up, it was just weird bile stuff. There was nothing actually accomplished. Like yours has that meat of actual grooming hair behind it that overpowers it, and envelops Young Yeller in flaming hair, mummifying and bringing him to his knees. Young Yeller's defeated you, as having killed your hated nemesis. Get an additional blessing of Valhalla just for the tying a knot in that one.
Cool. Awesome.
So let's set the scene a little bit. So we're waiting for the return of Bramblefoot.
Bramblepelt.
Bramblepelt?
I mean,
You?
I'm ready to come back whenever, but yes.
Bramblepelt. Lorgan
Let's do it. Go
is
for
has pancaked a lesser supplicant upon having exited this mortal coil. Young Yeller is donezo, as Mange has taken the dais and now stands in the middle and right before the new man, and Battletail. I think we
I got a pitch.
a second. Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
I think hearing and feeling everything that's going on, I'm kind of like frantically searching for the smell or the sounds of Coyote here, and it seems like everything's like, shit, we were led to the wrong place. And all this fighting and all this noise happens, but then I catch it, the revving of an ancient motorcycle in the distance. And so I'm gonna head over there, but I wanna see what everyone else has to do when they come back and everything first.
Taro is on your shoulder.
Nice.
Taro's going with, because if there's one thing a mouse is wanting for, it is a motorcycle.
Oh, nice. If you give a mouse a motorcycle,
they'll start
Especially
out
the
to be a
from
1%.
Mars, like, forget about it.
Yeah.
I loom.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of mouse and motorcycle media out there, isn't there?
There is.
There really is.
Never really thought about that before, but yeah, there it is.
I loom back into existence in front of my own, in front of the where the tax and the other stuff had pierced through my body, and I grab the 2 tacks, which change into like oversized daggers in my hands, as I start to charge towards the Hoover Upright Man.
All right. I'm gonna run with this, and then we're gonna check in with Lorgan, just to make sure that the spotlight's moving quick. So let's charge the Upright Man. Are you starting at the torso, or are you leaping for the?
Which one is the head? Which one is that's the arm, and what other part is the very hoovery part?
The torso is making up a large part.
Yeah, we're gonna go for the torso.
All right, so the torso is a giant foe. So raw brutality will bring it to heel. I don't remember if double weapons do use brutality, so I don't get.
They do what?
Yeah, it's almost as if.
Almost as if I made a choice.
Yep, that's that player's skill I've heard so much about. I wouldn't know. I've never had it. All right.
6 is my highest all day long. However, when I roll a 6, I can add another thing onto there, which means using the last thing I got, which is the thing where I pulled the Chariot of Freya. I don't remember the cool name for it. So I rolled another one, and that's an 11.
Well, that made all the difference. You are charging to the torso of the new man, and suddenly you realize that you are one of a team of cats pulling the Freya's chariot right through the torso with like Santa's reindeer, just plowing right through with the magical embodiment of Freya made manifest. Before as you see when you enter the gates of Valhalla, this is your introduction to who will be the rest of your driving team, carrying her across the sky. And they were there for you in this moment.
Cool.
The new man lurches. There is now a substantial gap, and the Hoover sputters and goes silent.
Are its arms and stuff still moving?
Oh, its arms and stuff are still moving. Its head is going.
Cool. But the Hoover has gone silent.
The Hoover is dead.
Okay.
For purposes of nemesis killing, you get the benefits of that in the form of getting an additional blessing of Valhalla.
All right, I'll let somebody else do stuff. Cool.
Lorgan, it's been a minute. Let's check in. How are we doing? How are we feeling today?
Last we checked, my body was slumped on the ground with some dog meat underneath it. Did my soul get carried to Valhalla, or the whole body? Because if I may steal someone's thunder, I might ODST drop onto that owl that may or may not be real.
Ooh.
All right, we're coming in hot. So
if you can't go up, you got to go down.
Yeah. I mean, why waste why waste a perfectly good re-entry?
Exactly.
All right.
See, I got a 5. I got 3 5s actually.
So you learn as you re-enter, this owl is real. This owl is real. And you come in and you're descending as the owl is sort of watching from above and watching Freya's chariot, when all of a sudden its head just rotates 180 degrees and makes perfect eye contact with you before flitting out of the way and then slashing down with both claws, perfectly silent the whole time. I rolled a 9. And the owl
this is epic.
The owl doesn't even adjust. It's now perched on the ledge on your corpse. and it just has a slightly higher vantage point to watch what's happening. Its true intentions remain unclear. What is it here for?
Oh, keep going. I want to see this resolve.
All right, I think.
That darn
So,
owl.
well,
my
while
body
you
can't
make-
be carried away. My soul is going to be flying up to Valhalla, and it will return it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll explore. Yeah. What does that mean? That's got to have implications for later. We'll find out. Where were we? We've talked to Bramblepelt. Where's Mange? Mange, how are we doing?
Yeah, Mange is tearing apart the last remaining parts of Young Yeller, and then we'll just turn on the vacuum arm and sort of showing off, just like send a bolt of flame at it.
All right.
And hope for the best.
And magic does employ cunning, if I remember right.
Mhm. All right, I got a 6 as my highest.
All right.
But I got a 6 on my ferocity die, and I have the blessing where if I get a 6 on that, whatever I'm attacking burns up, no matter what. I think.
Nice.
Excellent. Well, the what is that blessing again?
The blessing of Rustum's darting flame.
So
on a 6, they burn until gone.
Okay.
Cool.
I am more than happy to hand this whole thing over to you. Because I rolled a 5 and a 4. So not only did you win, but you won or roll higher. You rolled higher with the zhuzh. I think the vacuum part had peeled off, and the red right hand is sort of, let's say that the hose kind of ended here and the fingers kind of grew out of it as a sort of almost, we're animals. We all find the vacuum terrifying. There is no creature on God's green earth other than humans, and honestly some of them, that are comfortable around the sound of a vacuum cleaner. So this is the most terrifying glow up of a person you could invade. So even without that, it's sort of like grasping at you at the sort of source of this flame and trying to extinguish you. And then what happens?
Yeah, I think I flick a like ball of fire down it, and it just like goes in, and then there's like rumbling as it like begins to turn like red hot, and then just like the metal slags away.
Excellent. I love it. Yeah, it just sort of like collapses in on itself in this like melting Terminator moment, and slowly like ceases to be a living machine and just becomes a lump of useless metal. Fabulous. So let's see, we're down this, we got that. There is still a head, a left arm, which is a flame, and an owl of mysterious purpose and provenance, and a distant motorcycle. Let's check in on that motorcycle.
Yes.
Taro has finally shut up.
Okay.
Taro is sitting on your shoulder, and the what you were bracing for, the sort of like nonstop judgmental pontification that you've come to expect, that has stopped, and those beady eyes are sort of like hyper focused. Foil is drawn, like ready to jump off your shoulder. It's very much, it's time to make the donuts.
Okay. I think what happens is, I'm running on all fours down this hallway and, following the sound, and the camera zooms in all the way to the sound, and we see Wile E. Coyote with like shades and a leather jacket, like revving it. And he turns to look, and as he turns, the camera zooms out all the way to where I am. And as it does, you see like all these traps, poison arrows and things, and like, spikes coming up out of the ground and out of the ceiling, just all the way back to where I'm at. And I have to get through that to get to him.
Yes. So this is where we get to explore what it means to say every time you roll, you kill something, because I want to give these traps their due because they rule.
Mhm.
So let's find out if you can kill a trap
Yes. Okay.
through
So-
the passageway of, like, frankly, impractical death traps. Why would you have this hallway? Who was meant to walk down it? It exists only to kill and
It's a
to kill
getaway.
you. Yep.
Yeah.
Who built
Okay.
that temple? What were they
Uh,
thinking?
Am I going for cunning here?
So I really want to take this to its logical conclusion.
Yeah.
What weapon would you use to demolish or fight your way through this trap? I'm
So
perfectly
this
happy.
is all just flesh and bone.
Mm-hmm. All right,
No
then I
weapons.
would say
That's Fang and Claw.
Yeah,
Fang
fang
and-
and claw. So
Fang and claw.
ferocity and viciousness. Okay.
Ferocity and viciousness will see you through this day. And
Let's
let's.
do it.
I want someplace to escalate to.
That's 2 4s.
I took me a second to remember that on percentile dice, the zeros are in fact a 10.
10s.
You are able to here's what you're able to do. You are able to find out these are not automated traps. These are less able dogs that are waiting in the walls with spikes to go like, nah!
This
you
is
know.
this is 100% the labyrinth scene where the giant
Yeah.
like spinning torture thing of death comes
Yeah.
out as you push out of the way. It's just like 2 little goblins
Yeah.
jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a mechanical. Yeah, there's no automation here. They just have more dogs.
Yeah.
And so you are able to make good headway through. But unfortunately, let's see. You make it through the spikes. You make it through the ceiling spikes. You make it through the gout of flame and the pit trap. But then in an unexpected, what's the trap that gets you? It's got to be good. It's got to be the best.
Gotta be
trap.
good, right?
Actually,
Yeah.
here's or it's got to be real bad. Like you definitely
No.
maneuver
Oh my God, I
through
got
all
it.
these.
No,
Yeah.
I got it. So here's what happens, right? There's 2 things.
Mhm.
I make it through, right? What I think is every trap.
Mhm.
And I'm like about to get there. And as my feet are going, I take that one extra step and there's no ground there. And I'm like kind of like just paused in the middle of the air. And then he peels out and you see the smoke in the shape of the coyote left behind. And then I look down and then fall.
Yep. It's the classic absence of a trap and also the floor as
Yeah.
you fall into the living earth. So deep that there's a little band of magma at the bottom.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
all, and I'm like scratching on the way down and then I burn up.
You know, these leash cultists are not architects. This is not a practical.
They just found this
know,
place.
Right.
Yeah, this is not a practical building to dawn a new age out of. But man, oh man, do they love death traps and will dig, and they love digging, and they will dig a pit as deep as they gotta go to really, really kill a cat.
Yeah, they dig a pit until they burn up themselves.
Yeah, but you are much closer to Wile E. Coyote and his and actually, you know what? Let's find out. I forgot to roll for Taro.
Oh yeah, Taro leaping off of my shoulder.
Well, let's see. I'm gonna give it to Taro because I forget what I rolled on the last dice because I used these dice for that, and he rolled an 8, and didn't have to do the primary trap navigating.
There you go.
Yeah, Taro leaps from your shoulder and survives the encounter, but does not get an opportunity to tangle.
Yeah, I don't see what happens to that.
Yeah, he jumps into the smoke, and
Yeah.
it's ambiguous what happened from there.
Cool.
That rules. I like that a lot. Let's see. Let's bring our spotlight back to the main scene. So the new man is collapsing. You can see now the exact point where all these like chains and wires are like going to the edge of this dais and like are kind of going under the room. there's still some of the supplicants, the sort of lesser dogs are still fighting, but some of them are just running at seeing young Yeller flee, and a placid owl still looms over the whole thing, with in vague curiosity.
So with the Hoover somewhat down, with these this kind of wires going down below us, I have one mechanical question. Theoretically, so the blessings that you can get that let you take new mastery or add a d6, is it permissible to take those twice as long as you can narratively describe how cool your shit looks now that you've taken it a second time?
Yes. I don't think there's anything about like you can only take a blessing once.
Right. I didn't think so
yeah.
either, and some of them actually might imply that you want to take them numerous times.
Yeah. So I think you are absolutely good. Let's talk about your cool new shit.
So tick and tack turn they get a little bit longer, and they have what looks like a snake coiling around each of the handles at this point in time. As you should go ahead and roll. Dan.
I'm sorry, I was just lost in the moment. Who are we killing?
You.
Oh, death. Excellent.
See, because if I could maximize the amount of d6s I'm rolling, then I'm also maximizing my chance with these daggers to also be able to roll an additional dice and add it onto there when attempting to kill death.
Oh.
Which I already rolled a 6 as my highest. However, I get to roll more dice, so we'll go ahead and do that. And that's a 12.
So,
I'm assuming that ability does not chain, but we'll.
I mean, it may as well in this moment because my highest was a 5.
Excellent.
So let's take a moment.
Well, like how we're almost done, and I'm like, let me elongate this game another 15 minutes at least.
No, because I really want to explore the space. So you have caught, in a maelstrom of chaos and fire. What am I doing? You're the GM now. You tell me.
So in a maelstrom of chaos and fire, Death is kind of walking around the room, observing and kind of delightedly looking at what's happening. As soon as my hated enemy lies dead before me, I look up and realize I had a sense that I was being invited into something real, but that Death has really played a cruel trick. The only thing I had that kept me going was the sense of vengeance, and now even that has been stolen from me. And so the only thing left to do, since death is the only thing that is true, is to become death. And we see the newly imbued tick and tack as I do that, and I turn to look at Death, and Death's empty face looks at me, almost being able to sense satisfaction before I bury tick and tack deep within the robes. Those robes then turn almost seem to get sucked into tick and tack, and then the loomer's weave of them shoots up and around my arms as I turn into death myself, and their cloak withers out of existence. Only to snap back in as whatever you say it does. You can create a new character if you want. You could also take over Tarot if you wanted to. I think as a GM that'd be appropriate, even though the game isn't necessarily set up for mouse play. And that'd be pretty easy to weave in if we wanted to, or you can just hang out and relax as we finish this off.
I think I'll focus on Tarot and borrowing from the guidance provided in the text for what to do if you run out of lives. If I run out of NPCs to hop in on, I'll start maybe a raven will light on your shoulder,
Are you
and I can
raven?
some foes.
Awesome.
And just sort of co-GM. But yeah, all right, excellent.
So y'all see these set of wires going down below you, specifically Mange, who was up close to them. You can see these kind of winding down below. Lurgan, had you come back yet?
Not yet.
Go ahead. What does it look like as you are summoned back to Earth?
All right. As I said, my soul left my body to go and be denied at the doors of Valhalla. So my soul returns to my body, which the owl is on. However, the way my body fell, I've been lying on my back, and the owl perched itself on my stomach and has now activated the belly trap. So I'm just gonna like
He's activated my trap card.
You're just coming
get him.
down in. It sounds like Fang and Claw.
I got a 10.
You got a 10. Shit, I only had a bunch of 7-sided dice set up. What have I done to myself? Shit. Hey, Dan, co-GM, Death to Raven. How do I decide what dice to roll?
Oh, so when it's something like an owl that they just made up on the spot, or that you're making up on the spot, I'd say vibes. I did a D12 and a D10 to leave room to escalate later, but
we're just gonna keep on. What did you roll?
I rolled a D12 and a D10 in the past.
Sorry, Emily. What did you roll for Lurgan's belly attack?
My highest was a 10.
You got it.
Awesome. So yeah, no, the owl just kind of like sort of feels some shuffling underneath it, kind of like looks around, it's like, ooh, and then I just back and front claws just rip into it. I just shred it apart, toss the body aside to eat at later, and then turn my sights towards the rest of the new man.
And you are going to come back to eat it later, but go ahead and describe to me, does that first taste of owl flesh taste as sweet as you thought it would?
It's glorious. I almost feel smarter because of it. Oh, actually, that's gonna dictate what blessing I get.
I'd say, yeah. Awesome. Riley, tell me a little bit about what's happening with Battletail.
Oh, so currently dead, coming back now. In your shadow are two little like points of light that look like stars in the sky. And then rising from that is the shadowy figure of myself now with stars in my eyes. And I look very disappointed. And I say, we lost him. He's gone. But this is new. Look at you.
I look at you with a knowing glance that instantly communicates everything that's happened while you were out of the room.
Yeah. And then
I
kind of stealing myself, I realize what needs to be done.
Yeah, I point towards the wires. I think at this point, like, the dogs are probably losing it a little bit. Like, as much as they were, like, most of the dogs have scattered from this room. Young Yeller has been killed. The owl has been pulled down. The upright man is weakened, and one of these cats just became death, and so it is a little overwhelming for them.
I just say it's time to end this, and we're all gonna super attack at the same time, I guess.
Describe to me what your combo attack here looks like, and I'll let Dan roll 2d12 to roll against you.
Nice. What do you guys want to do to finish this thing off? This big climax finish.
What's the last part?
It's the remains of that human machine.
So if you, but there's this kind of these wires that go down below. The machine itself has kind of started sputtering and has come mostly to a stop. But it looks like it's trying to power back up. But you can follow this twist of wires down into what looks like an old cellar. Not to be confused with the Young Yeller.
I go to Mange and I say, the forbidden magic, it's time.
I nod solemnly and then run up to the wires, flip over, and start doing that cat flip out thing where I'm like rolling on top of the wires and sort of rubbing against them. All of my fur bursts into flame. I go supernova and hopefully like weaken the wires, leaving them open to vulnerable to attack.
Oh, I like that. Okay, go ahead and roll for me.
I got a 11.
All right, Dan, go ahead and roll.
I have and rolled an 11.
Ooh.
So the great thing is like you start doing this, and we see this kind of flare go up, and all of a sudden, like from your tail to your head, like we see kind of flame burst across, even richer. Then we see this kind of electricity feed back across, as all of a sudden the aroma in the air becomes that of burning hair and burning wires at the same time. You have opened up. Like you've laid the wires bare as you immolate and electrocute to death. Also too. What is everybody else doing as he is? But now you can see the heart of these wires.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any point in me taking my vantage point to just kind of jump and just kind of knock the semi-functional new
What is that, like a
man
people's
over so
elbow
he
or
can't really go
something?
anywhere?
You just want to decimate the entire body. Like your goal is to kind of just scatter it and knock it across.
Jump off.
Yeah, from the top rope.
Yeah.
When has a cat
Yeah.
ever from a high ledge jumped onto something and caused it all to fall apart? I can't imagine a more cat way to do this. That sounds great.
This is a fantasy game after all.
Right. And you're kind of attacking the whole of it. Go ahead and roll your attack for me. The electronic wires are bare. Dan, roll it because of the wires are laid bare. Roll 2d10 for me.
All right.
All right, the wires are attached to the thing. Then maybe I should just attack the wires.
It's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
All right, yeah, let's do it that way. Wait, so it's 2d8 now. Wait, no, I'm not using cunning. It's Trickin's Doug. Extra. This wouldn't be a tricky thing, would it?
It doesn't sound particularly tricky to me. If you can, but if your thought is that you are jumping, I don't think this is tricky. But if you want to approach it in a cunning manner, I am 100% on board with that.
Yeah, let's say I'm jumping off in such a way that I kind of like set the thing off kilter in such a way that the exposed wires just kind of snap as they've been weakened.
Gotcha. Sounds great.
All right, that's a 9.
I did roll a 10.
Awesome. So I just fucking miss.
So no, I think what happens, like, you hit it, but like it's got like it is already so wobbly, like it slams down onto the ground, like and lands on top of you, and it rolls down into the cellar down below. You are smashed in the process and sent up as it goes cascading down the steps, but still seems to be to have just a little bit of life left in it.
And I'll jump down after it.
All right. What does this look like?
So you said it tumbled down into the cellar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see it at the bottom of the steps as the cellar kind of rounds, as the wires of the cellar going down in the cellar wrap around the edge.
Okay. So I just jump in after it, and I'm going to try and see if there's like a power source or whatever, where the wires eventually lead to. Is there something I can see down here?
So as you get down in there, you see this this giant kind of pulsating. It looks like a heart, and as you look at it, it's got some of the same kind of stone composition as the crystalline man that you had traveled through. It looks like they may have excavated it from there, placed it here. But there's also like there are a mishmash of wires coming out of. There's fluids coming in and out of it as well. But it also looks like it is beating harder than you would have expected. Like this thing looks like it is about to burst and rupture.
Slowly walk towards it, and I just try to shove my paw right into it.
Okay. Is this fang and claw then?
Fang and claw, yeah. Vicious, ferocious. Let's see. That is a 6. And if I roll a 6, the next person to roll can add a d6 because of my starry eyes.
Cool. All right. I'm assuming you don't want to give that to Dan.
No.
All right. Dan, go ahead and roll those 2d10s.
All right. I rolled a 4.
Nice.
All right, so tell me what it looks like as you plunge your hand into the heart of the new upright man.
So I think that there's so much power being drawn into this thing that as I reach in, it like electrocutes me and I die and then am right back where I was, and then die and I'm right back where I was. And I'm just holding on as hard as I can. And each time coming back stronger and stronger and stronger until finally I'm able to absorb all of that energy, and it, whatever's inside of it, cracks and bursts.
I will let you make a choice here. Do you want to trigger your final death at that last moment, or do you want to have one life left to live?
I want to trigger it. I want to meet my brother.
I don't remember what that looks like real quick, so maybe I'll ask the Raven on my shoulder. What the hell happens when somebody hits their final death?
So a couple of things happen when you hit your final death, but the first and foremost is you are pulled with the same pomp and circumstance as every other death to the gates of Valhalla, which finally open for you. You have a couple of choices here.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk through the gates of Valhalla and join your brother and choose to make a new character, although we're very near the climax of the story. You can join you can continue to play as a raven and embody
I think what I'd like to do, I would like my spirit to ascend, which means that I'm only like partially there, and meet my brother and tell him I'll be here soon.
Mm-hmm.
But the spirit stays and the body will remain being piloted until Wiley is dead.
Which brings me to my final option. You may pilot a shambling corpse and just continue to play with your character, and you'll go to Valhalla later because, as written in the game, it's your afterlife, and a thing as small as dying shouldn't interrupt your pursuit of ruinous pleasure.
Excellent. I want to come back to that in just 1 second. Then let's do a little postscript real quick for the other two characters. Y'all arrive back down from having gone up to Valhalla, not quite making it back, making it in. You come back down. The room is eerily silent. That humming sound is gone. Dead bodies lay all around. You find down in the basement, at the moment, what looks like a petrified corpse of Battletail with its heart shoved into this inert creation. Death seems to even have abandoned you at this point in time. He is no longer around. Unless you have something you really want to do here, tell me the tale that you tell while drinking of your fallen foes. About what do we see? Like, where do we see you drinking over the and telling the tales of your fallen comrades and the foes that you vanquished?
I think we're I'm back at the city at the Lions bodega.
That's the place to go.
And we've gathered.
I would love to hear that. Wait, no, I used my second.
It's okay.
I really would enjoy this tale.
Hell yeah. And yeah, we've gathered the entire city and all the cliques there, and they're all listening, and we're badasses.
Excellent. Everybody's celebrating you. The mead tastes a little weird. It tastes a little weird as
the
they
price
toast
of admission.
But they say that's just kind of the local flavor, is what they tell you repeatedly. I think the last thing we see is because you got to leave it open, for a question mark. Is there going to be a sequel depending on the box office response? We see the foot of Battletail shambling up to the top of the cellar, like just the feet step on top of it with a wire dragging along the ground next to it, and then we fade to black.
Nice.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was 9 Lives to Valhalla. We don't always stress test systems, but apparently when Dan comes on, we do stress test systems. I had an absolute great great time playing. We are going to do something real quick called our reaction roll. Reaction roll is a live stream within a live stream. It's our chance to sit down with the creator of a game that we just played and talk to them about what it was like to play that game. Like I just said, today we were playing 9 Lives to Valhalla. If you're watching us live right now, you have questions about this game, anything else, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, we're going to talk to our players a little bit, find out what they liked about the game, and let them ask the creator a little bit. Dan, tell us a little bit about 9 Lives to Valhalla and how this this phenomenal little game came to be.
So this is a game that it's the first game I worked on with Kali, who is the other half of Gemroom Games. And before Gemroom Games was a thing, as an idea to make a game a month, as just really quick zines to give away as parties. And it really benefited from the constraint of not having a lot of time to work on it, because as soon as it's like, okay, cats, Vikings, great, go. I'm running out of time. I got to write a game. Technically, and it's more obvious in the original first draft, but it is a Ryutama hack. So for those of you who are familiar with that indie RPG, took the pastoral, lovely sort of cozy road trip game and added what I thought might have been missing from it. But
said, but what if none of that?
But what if we didn't have Wander Home back in 2016, but if it was like, what if I hugely missed the point of Wander Home? So it came together really, really fast. The biggest hiccup was I'd written about 2/3 of it, and then I asked some friends to send me music recommendations for death metal Viking music. And after being sent Amon Amarth's Twilight of the Thunder God, I deleted the whole game and started from scratch, because it was nowhere near fast enough and nowhere near brutal enough to match the tempo that I was ascribing to go for. So that's where a lot of the rules about, oh no, every roll somebody has to die.
Yeah.
So that, it's been a very soundtrack driven thing. The first draft, Kali edited, and then we laid it out on PowerPoint with a lot of public domain art. Actually, one moment. I have one. So this was what it looked like, in its first version. The type's a little small. We've learned a lot since layout in the last 5 years. And then this we were talking last year about how, okay, we wanted to start crowdfunding, we wanted to start getting our games in print, and this seemed like the perfect sort of close the circle. Is technically this was our first game in print. We just did it on an inkjet and bought a long arm stapler, but we were really excited to do this for Zine Month as a sort of it's a good self-contained, super punchy, rules light makeup game. Because
I also feel like what we played may have been a long version of this game as opposed to a short version of this game.
I mean, it went until someone hit 9 deaths, which always takes longer than I expect. Because when I was prepping this, I was like, "There's no way," and then you found a way. But we kind of spend a little bit more time with it than I usually get to. But I think it hung together pretty well throughout.
Awesome. I love it. Let's meet some of our players and hear a little bit from them. Let's start with Ty. Ty, tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play 9 Lives to Valhalla, and hit Dan with any questions if you have them.
Yeah, you can find me at Eldritch Mouse or in the hell.exe Discord server, which Keegan, famous friend of the show, runs. And that is the only place you can find me. I really love 9 Lives to Valhalla. It's a fun time. I like how you sort of think about when you describe your attack, you have to sort of think about, how can I die in an interesting way from this, and also how can I set it up so that I can kill my foe in a glorious way. So I think that really hammers home perfectly.
Awesome. Any questions you want to ask Dan?
No, I've got nothing. I guess when is the SRD coming out so we can get to hacking this game?
I really want to we hadn't thought about it as the kind of game that would benefit from an SRD, but in retrospect, like now that we've started working on it and just been thinking about that for other projects, like it would not take very long. Like it's more or less, it's got a little bit of that dread energy, right?
Yeah.
You pull a brick and if it falls over, you died. And that's not the whole rules, but that's a lot of what you need to know to play.
That's the
So I feel
important
like
part of Dread.
that's the important part of dread. And so, I think making it so that, yeah, if you want to make a game where you die and come back a lot and come up with a narrative constraint that, oh yeah, you got clones, we're getting real, you could do a pretty good paranoia hack of this. Actually, we should, guys, let's do a paranoia hack. Anyways,
Star Wars hack.
Anxiety.
yeah, well, we can scope. What's a little more scope creep? We can start working on an SRD. Probably
Gener-
not.
I will say my
Yeah.
character was almost entirely a homebrew hack and
Yeah.
not a rules as written character.
But yeah, we should do an SRD. Well, once we're not crowdfunding and can go back on the internet without taking psychic damage, we'll look into it.
Love it. Emily, how about you? Tell people who you are, where they can find you online, and what it was like to play 9 Lives to Valhalla.
All right, I'm Emily. Trip Forks in some spaces. I'd like to say, I don't know if amateur or fledgling is more flattering. Game designer. Currently, main thrust of project is a Merkborg dungeon crawl through. Well, it was supposed to be for a Christmas game jam, their holiday game jam, because it's based on if anyone's heard Woody the Talking Christmas Tree, just horrible thing for children. Haunted my holidays as a child. So yeah, I'll be getting the ball rolling on that soon, and some other things. Which I'll reveal later. I technically have a Twitter. I keep meaning to start using it to promote and network and all this other stuff. Get to know all the cool stuff on the scene, but usually I'm in Discord servers. I'm not sure if I should name all of the ones, but
don't worry about it right now.
I'm around.
Cool. And what was it like to play 9 Lives of Valhalla? To Valhalla.
I really enjoyed it. Usually when playing a game with polyhedral dice sets, I'm used to the D20 taking a lot more action, but it's interesting not having it show up at all. And I didn't know that this was based on Rigotama. I've heard good things about it, and this has sold me on that as well as itself. And yeah, I really enjoyed playing it. If I had to ask a question, that would be if the Pantheon is going to stay as is or is it going to be expanded. Because one thing I definitely thought about when picking a god for my character is that this guy's definitely got like a cunning level of D4.
Mm-hmm.
But that's neither here nor there. I really enjoyed it, and it's nice to think creatively about death and have it happen multiple times in a few hours. And yeah, good game.
Awesome.
Good times, etc.
Dan, how about that? Any chances to expand the Pantheon or add apostate classes?
Chances, absolutely. It wasn't. It's not planned, but also I think one of the things is like that was just, hey, what are the Latin species names for big cats? Okay, boom, boom, boom. That's like it's written. Let's keep moving. So I think there is something really interesting about some of the stuff that you were exploring, Tony, of like, okay, well, what if we have the apostate? What if we have the inclusion of the like conflict between wolf gods and the leash cults was like, Absolutely. I think Kali kind of suggested it as like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could work this in? And I was like, I'm typing as you're talking. Yes. Okay, great. We go live in 30 minutes. Um, so I think there's something more interesting and comes up more than I think I expected when I first wrote it about that sort of like faith and religion element in a way that like it kind of undercurrents the story more than I think I expected, and that's probably worth. I don't know if it's going to be for Nine Lives like what we're working on now, because the manuscript is in a place that we're pretty happy with, and we can't let the page count go or else all the numbers are wrong. But I think it does open up something really interesting to explore down the line, or as like a digital only adventure or something like that we could really play with.
Love it. And lastly, we got Riley. Riley, tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play Nine Lives to Valhalla.
Thanks, Tony. My name is Riley Coyote. You can find my projects at afterthought.games. Currently crowdfunding and stressed out about it like everybody else, but doing our best. This game is extremely fun. I am one of those types that considers every game or every book a source book. Thanks, Zach. And I also, what was I going to say? Consider that reading a game is a lot like playing a game. So even just reading it the first time, like I was conjuring so many ideas about, what my character could be or what the world would look like, or, potential gods before I even got to that section. And I think that's really a quality of the writing. And I wanted to say, I would definitely love to see moving forward once this, core book is out, to see, more takes on items and characters and setting and things like that, because that's where this really shines. It like sells its tone immediately, you know what I mean? And it's not often that a book can do that on page one. And then harping off of what M said, not having the D20 is always perfect. I wrote in my first book to just throw it in the trash because you don't need it. Yeah, and if I had a question for you, it was kind of already asked by M, but my question was whether you thought about like expanding beyond this, or if this is currently just your like number one focus.
So right now, we're kind of living in Zine month. We're going right into that green realm February 1st, and so that's kind of occupying a lot of space. But we're kicking around a lot of ideas, but like death metal or like dark fantasy cartoon animal like setting is too rich a vein to like stop playing
Right.
with. One of the things that the first time we ran it, a question kept coming up of like, okay, but can I play a dog? And so like, well, dogs don't have 9 lives. Like it doesn't really super hang together with dog. But I think one of the things we really want to explore, and we wrote like one of the things we wrote and then published again before Gemroom Games was a thing was a game called like Fang, Plague, and Steel about rats that like was in development, and it was a little bit half baked, but like there's a lot like as a setting, like I think there's a lot we'd love to do with this, and it's not clear like how that works mechanically with cats that can die 9 times and so on, but like who cares? It's games. Whatever.
All I can say is I think a lot of people would love, myself included, to expand on this universe, because it's a fun space to explore.
Yeah, we really want to get the chance to, in the long arc.
Cool.
I already know. I mean, I'll pitch the dog expansion to you right now, and that's that you play as a pack of related dogs.
Yeah.
Every single time one dies, the next one shows up to complete the quest. Like they are different.
The next one becomes the new alpha.
Right. They step up into being the alpha's always with you, and they step up to being it. That's just the quick, whatever. Or you just beef them up slightly so that they don't die as quickly, and you just got to do a new character every whatevers.
Yeah.
But I still like the pack approach. Actually, from chat, we got the sculpting chin asks, is the shifting GM roundtable mechanic found within the rulebook?
Yes. At any time, the GM is played by Death, or Death plays the GM, or
One or the other.
one or the other. My brain is falling apart. But
The lines blur.
one of the reasons why it's important that they're physically there is because at any time, any of the cats can draw Steel against Scythe and try to kill Death. And if they do, well, now you're the GM, and whoever was playing Death either makes a character, or same guidance as if you died your last death. So that is, I rolled 2d12 for Death. I want to, but it's not canon how you as a GM should handle that. If you're ready to be done because you're running on fumes, you could roll 2d4 and be like, yep, all right, Death is a pushover today, and now it's your problem.
It's all part of the plan.
It's the forever GM's escape hatch is what we call that. Like, I only rolled.
Please attack Death, please.
Well, and I do want to hit on that just one additional note, but it's also one of the things that I think is a really important through line is sort of like really making it clear that this is a GM heavy game. It's very like it's the nightmare GM of like they're killing you over and over and over again. And so one of the things we wanted to not only really be explicit about in the text and the tone section, but also in the mechanics is like, yeah, but we're going to go hard on that the GM is a player too thing. Right. We're going to go hard on like, you can tell the GM no, like that Death was not sufficient. Give me one more again, or I'm taking your job.
Yeah.
My gosh, yeah.
And the other option is that that potentially becomes shared by that Raven mechanic, right?
True.
So it is there is a GM side and a player and a player character side, and you can cross between them at any point. So power dynamics become a different question.
Yeah, it was really important for us to have blurry power dynamics, especially because the game is so ultra violent, and it's not enough to just say this is a game about violence but not conquest. It's not enough to say like, oh, this is, like obviously there's a might makes right undercurrent, but also like for a game with as much GM interference as this, we really wanted a no gods, no master feel. So that was how we delivered on that.
I loved it. I had an absolute blast playing it. I'm actually going to have a review with some of my full thoughts coming out. Let's give it a week from now. So I have some time to get it recorded and edited, but I can't wait. If you're just joining us, because we just had a little spike there. We were playing 9 Lives to Valhalla. It's going to be going live on February 1st on Kickstarter as part of Zine Month. Zine Month is a phenomenal event that is supporting across any platform the funding of small zine length, which if you don't know, please check it out. If you have not, you can follow the hashtag Zemo or go to zinemonth.com to find out more about that. We'll have plenty of coverage here on the stream for it. Also, again, a reminder, a couple things we have going on, and that's tomorrow afternoon. We've got our first Alone with Armanda, which is our first solo actual play, followed by an interview with the designer that Armanda is going to be doing here on the channel. Those will get turned into short reviews also. So hit follow if you haven't yet. Also, feel free to follow us over on YouTube for all of our VODs if you're just joining us as well. We are in the last 72 hours of the Ashcan power-up sequence, our 22-page beta for Through the Void. I'm now releasing, because we only have one more funding goal left. It's a mission, a kind of a grouped standalone piece of content for it that is being done by Lucas Rollum and Gnarled Monster, who are two phenomenal RPG LATAM, so Latin American, Brazilian specifically creators, are going to be doing that. But we do have 3 secrets we're releasing, and I released one of them this morning because we hit $150 towards that goal, because it's our biggest goal out of all of them. So every $150 I release a secret. There's 2 more secrets to be decrypted and unleashed upon the universe. Go check that out. But please go check out 9 Lives to Valhalla. I'm going to play us out with that amazing trailer while we all wave at the screen. Until then, bye everybody. Oh, my screen just went dark. Everybody keep on waving.